Taiji Hall, Heaven's Evolution Tao Palace. The once deserted Grand Hall was now abuzz with voices. Why has the palace master suddenly summoned us here? What has happened? You still don't know? Junior sister Su Yun has accused senior brother Su Chun of cultivating demonic arts and harming fellow disciples. What? Is that true? But senior brother Su Chun doesn't usually look like someone who cultivates demonic arts. You have to understand, Su Chun was only brought back to the palace a few years ago. One knows a person's face, but not their heart. Who knows what he truly is? I think it must be true. After all, the accuser is junior sister Su. Her relationship with Su Chun is incredibly close. If even she has come forward to accuse him, how could it be false? My expression was calm. I ignored the whispers of the disciples in the hall and stepped into the grand hall one step at a time. Su Chun, do you admit your guilt? Seeing my arrival, a stunning woman on the main seat suddenly slammed the table and rebuked me. I frowned slightly, looking at Shun Rushua. Master, what crime have I committed? Seeing my attitude, Shun Rushua grew somewhat angry. Su Chun, last night someone colluded with demonic cultivators and fiends, harmed disciples of the Heavenly Treasure Hall, and stole the Heavenly Treasure Hall's sacred artifact, the Heaven's Evolution Orb. And you were not in your cave dwelling yesterday. Do you dare say this wasn't you? Hearing Shun Rushua's words, I couldn't help but let out a scoff. No, Master, when speaking, one must present evidence. What do you mean, just because I wasn't in my cave dwelling last night? It must have been me. So many fellow disciples weren't in their cave dwellings yesterday. Does that mean they are all the culprits? This matter has nothing to do with me. Seeing me refuse to admit it, Shun Rushua grew even angrier. What a glib tongue you have. Then let me ask you, were you present at the Heavenly Treasure Hall last night? I nodded, yes. Shun Rushua continued to ask, then why were you at the Heavenly Treasure Hall in the middle of the night instead of cultivating in your cave dwelling, without any apparent reason? Don't tell me you suddenly had an inspiration and got up in the middle of the night to cultivate martial arts in the Heavenly Treasure Hall. I don't believe in such coincidences. I explained, of course not. Last night, Junior Sister left a message saying there was a move in the Heavenly Unity Sword Art that she didn't understand and asked for my guidance. As I hadn't learned it myself, I went to review it in order to answer her questions and clear her doubts. Hearing my explanation, Master Shinrushua let out a cold laugh. Practicing martial arts for Su Yun. Huh? But the crucial point is, she is the one who reported you to me. What? Hearing Shun Rushua's words, I looked completely incredulous. Impossible. Shen Ruxus Norted Coldly. Impossible? What's impossible about it? Evil disciple, you cultivate the demonic path. Su Yun personally witnessed you colluding with demonic cultivators outside the Heavenly Treasure Hall, harming fellow disciples. The evidence is conclusive. What kind of attitude is this now? Do you still intend to deny it? Hearing this, a trace of inexplicable anger arose in my heart. Cultivating the demonic path? Personally witnessed? Harming fellow disciples? Conclusive evidence. Don't pin every accusation on me. I said I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Hearing that I still stubbornly refused to admit it, Shinmeng Shue was enraged. Enough, evil disciple. Even now you still want to quibble? I originally wanted to save you some face, but since you insist, then let Su Yun personally come and confront you. Someone, Samin Su Yun. Soon, a graceful woman with an ethereal aura entered, riding her sword. Su Yun, tell us, what exactly happened last night when the Heavenly Treasure Hall's guardian disciples were killed and the ultimate treasure was stolen? Hearing Shun Rushua's words and noticing my unreservedly intense gaze, Su Yun was slightly startled, then immediately knelt down and spoke. Revered Master, it was senior brother Su Chun who did it. I saw it with my own eyes last night. It was he who killed the two senior brothers guarding the hall, and he also colluded with people from the demonic sect to steal the sect's sacred artifact. Hearing Su Yun's words, I looked at her with an expression of disbelief, my voice filled with anguish and indignation. You, Su Yun, I treated you so well, How could you frame me? A flicker of shame flashed across Su Yun's eyes, but she quickly returned to normal. Senior brother, I'm sorry. I didn't want this to happen, but I cannot go against my conscience. Moreover, precisely because you were good to me, I absolutely cannot watch you go astray. Admit it. Realize your errors and return to the right path. Believe, master, the palace lord will go easy on you. Su Yun's words were like steel needles piercing my chest. I truly couldn't believe that Su Yun would actually betray me. Su Yun was a small beggar I casually picked up on my way back to the sacred palace. That night, the cold wind howled and the ground was frozen solid. Seeing Su Yun, I couldn't help but recall my own childhood self, just like her, barely surviving in this world. I couldn't help but feel empathetic and took pity on her. Seeing her pitiful state, I brought her back to the heavenly, evolved sacred palace. Because of her frail constitution, she was not accepted by Master. So I personally nurtured her, daily warming and nourishing her meridians. Her foundation was weak, so I ventured into dangerous secret realms multiple times to hunt for divine beast blood to temper her body. Her talent was poor, so I sought out all sorts of heavenly treasures, spiritual elixirs, and miraculous medicines for her cultivation. Her comprehension was low, so I personally taught her spells and techniques repeatedly, without ever getting impatient. Under my meticulous care, her aptitude was elevated immeasurably, and her foundation was laid boundlessly deep. One could say, I painstakingly nurtured her from a good-for-nothing into a prodigy. To her, I not only hold the grace of saving her life, but also that of giving her a new life. Yet now, she actually spouts nonsense, slandering me for colluding with demonic cultivators and stealing the sect's most precious treasure. Su Yun, do you dare to look me in the eyes and say again that what happened last night was my doing? My voice was tinged with coldness. A flash of shame flickered in Su Yun's eyes, but it was fleeting. Senior brother Su, I know you've been extremely good to me, but on this matter, I truly cannot cover for you. Even if you make me say it 1,000, 10,000 times, my answer will still be only one. Those were 2 whole human lives. I cannot go against my conscience. Hearing Su Yun's sanctimonious words, I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. Cannot go against your conscience. Huh. Su Yun, do you even have a damn conscience? Hearing my words, Su Yun feigned being wronged and burst into tears. Woo-woo, senior brother, how can you say such things to me? Am I not just stating the facts as they are? Seeing Su Yun shed tears, the fellow disciples in the hall became restless, one after another standing up to accuse me. Su-chun, I never thought you would be so malicious. Not only did you kill 2 senior brothers, but now you're even turning around and blaming junior sister Su Yun. Exactly. Junior sister Su Yun is so pure and unsullied. How could she possibly frame you? That's right. Su-chun himself said he was extremely good to junior sister Su Yun. So why would junior sister frame him for no reason now? What benefit would she gain from framing him? Indeed, even taking 10,000 steps back, even if junior sister truly did frame Su-chun, then why wouldn't she frame someone else? It must be because Su-chun was bad to junior sister. So no matter what, it's Su-chen's fault. Hearing the disciples' murmurs and seeing Su Yun crying with her face covered, Shun Rushua slammed her palm onto the luminous pearl on the table, crushing it into powder. Enough, Su-chun. Su Yun, as your junior sister, personally stepped forward to report you. Do you know what kind of pressure she's under and how much pain she feels in her heart? Now, it's bad enough that you don't admit your guilt, but you even dare to accuse Su Yun of having no conscience. I see that the one without a conscience is you. I advise you to quickly confess your guilt so that I may show leniency. Otherwise, even if your father is Palace Master Su, he won't be able to protect you. I ignored the impassioned words of the disciples and shunned Rushua, merely gazing coldly at Su Yun. You said you were stating the facts as they are and couldn't go against your conscience. Then do you dare now to place your hand over your heart and swear upon your Tao heart that what happened last night was my doing? Hearing this, Su Yun trembled all over and stiffly turned her head away. Seeing me propose a Tao hard oath, the disciples all became excited. In a cultivation world, Tao hard oaths are governed by the heavenly Tao. Once an oath is made, if it is false, their path forward is immediately severed, and their cultivation realm in this life will halt there, unless a heaven-defying stroke of luck intervenes. It could be said that almost no one dared to lie to their own Tao heart. Junior sister Sue, since Su Chun is so unyielding, then you should swear by your Tao heart. Exactly. I'd like to see if Su Chun still dares to be so stubborn after you've sworn. Su Yun's expression stiffened slightly. Shun Rawashu also spoke up. Yuner, what are you hesitating for? Since that rebellious disciple refuses to admit it, there's no need to spare his feelings. Swear the oath. Hearing Shun Rawashu say this, Su Yun's expression grew even stiffer. Seeing Su Yun stammering, I couldn't help but sneer. Why are you so hesitant? Could it be that you don't dare? Hurry up and swear. Everyone's waiting. At these words, Su Yun's gaze became even more evasive. How could she possibly dare to swear such an oath? She had indeed framed me in this matter. If she were to truly swear by her Tao heart, her cultivation would be permanently stuck at the golden core stage, which would be a colossal loss. But if she didn't swear now, wouldn't that, in turn, prove that she had slandered me, causing her to lose all face within the sect? Suddenly, as if struck by an idea, she dropped to her knees and began to weep. Woo-woo, senior brothers and sisters, this matter. Woo-woo, it was I who slandered senior brother. Please don't blame him anymore, woo. It's all my fault. It was I who colluded with the demonic cult. If you want to blame someone, blame me. Hearing Su Yun actually confess, the hall instantly erupted in chaos. What? Junior sister Su Yun really slandered Su Chun? That's impossible, isn't it? How could Su Yun possibly collude with the demonic cult? Just as the hall descended into heated debate, three figures arrived, transforming into streaks of light. Enough! This is the grand hall of the palace. What kind of decorum is this? All this incessant noise. Seeing the new arrivals, the elders and disciples in the hall all knelt in unison. Greetings, Palace Lord and young Master Su Chun. I also looked in the direction of the voices. The moment I recognized their faces, my expression couldn't help but darken. The three were none other than my birth father, Su Tianhai, the Palace Lord of the Heavenly Evolution Holy Palace, my elder sister, Su Hongling, and the adopted son who had replaced me for 18 years of my life, Su Chun. Su Chun didn't even glance at me, flying directly to Su Yun's side and pulling her into his embrace. Yinner, you are so kind. How could you possibly collude with the demonic tribe? You suddenly changed your story. Did Su Chun threaten you? I know you remember Su Chin's kindness to you, and you want to bear responsibility for him. But this isn't your fault. You don't need to wrong yourself for Su Chun. Don't be afraid. I'm here. Tell me exactly what happened, and I will see justice done for you. After speaking, he gave me a cold glare. Su Yun, in his arms, burst into tears upon hearing this. Boo-boo-boo. No. I didn't do it. It was all senior brother Su Chun, not me. Just now, senior brother Su Chun sent me a sound transmission, saying that if I didn't admit to it for him, he would order his Tao protector to kill me. That's why. Woo-woo. Hearing Su Yun's tearful accusation, the disciples in the hall all looked at me with disgust. I knew it. How could junior sister Su Yun possibly collude with the demonic sect? So she was actually threatened by Su Chun. Su Chun is truly despicable. Not only did he collude with the demonic sect himself, but he also turned around and falsely accused others. If young Master Gu Chun hadn't arrived, junior sister Su Yun would truly have been wrong today. Su Tianhai trembled with rage upon hearing this. Rebellious son, abusing your power to oppress others. Is this how I taught you? Colluding with demonic cultivators, harming fellow disciples, and being discovered, yet you still dare to threaten your own junior sister? My tone was flat. I didn't. Hearing this, Su Tianhai grew even more furious. You didn't? His gaze was like a torch fixed on the void behind me. Su Yao, tell me, what exactly is going on here? The void rippled, and then a graceful figure appeared out of thin air. She was the Tao protector bestowed upon me by Su Tianhai, a cultivator at the nascent soul middle stage. Su Yao subtly glanced at Su Chun, then spoke. My lord, young master Su Chun did indeed order me just now, that if Su Yun didn't agree, I was to kill her. Hearing this, my brows furrowed even deeper. What have I done to wrong you, that even you betray me? Su Yao's tone was humble. I am merely stating the facts. How can that be called betrayal? Su Yao's words instantly caused a huge uproar in the hall. My master Shinrushua looked at me furiously. Wicked disciple, even your Tao protector has admitted it. What more do you have to say now? I suppressed the raging fire in my heart. I said it wasn't me. Su Tianhai looked at me with a hint of disappointment. Rebellious son, the evidence is conclusive, yet you still want to deny it. Are you trying to say that your closest junior sister and your most intimate Tao protector are both slandering you? My gaze swept over the two of them, and I sneered, isn't that right? Junior sister Su Yun looked at me pitifully, her voice soft and vulnerable. Senior brother, just admit it. If you had admitted it sooner. Before she could finish, I sharply interrupted, shut up. Seeing me speak like this, Su Chen also shouted sternly, enough. Chindi, what has gotten into you now? My gaze was calm as I swept over the disciples who were shouting the loudest. I watched Guardian Su Yao and Su Chun exchanging glances, my gaze finally landing on Su Chun, who was tightly embracing Su Yun. I knew why they had betrayed me. It turned out they had other options. For Su Chun, they abandoned me. Father, do you believe them just because they say so, but not me? I am your own son, yet you trust their words so readily? If they say in the future that you colluded with the demonic sect, then would you be a spy for the demonic sect? Su Tianhai snorted coldly. Since you say you didn't do it, then provide proof. Hearing this, I nodded impartially, then looked at the two women. That's simple. Su Yao, Su Yun, since you both claim I did it, do you two dare to swear an oath to the heavenly Tao right now? Hearing this, both Su Yao and Su Yun trembled. Su Yun, in particular, looked even more distraught. She had just managed to strategically retreat, barely dodging the oath swearing. And now I had brought it up again. Damn it. Hearing this, both Su Yun and Su Yao fell silent. They were both heavenly talents, having broken through to the golden core and nascent soul stages at a young age. If their immortal path were severed just because of slandering me, it would truly not be worth it, but now. Seeing the two of them remain silent, the corner of my mouth curved upwards. Speak up. Why are you silent now? Is it that you have no mouths, or that you don't dare? Just as Su Yun was a loss, Su Chun tightly gripped her hand. Su Chen also looked at Su Yao, signaling with his eyes for her to make the oath. I naturally noticed the trio's little gestures. What exchanging glances? Are you discussing how to handle yourselves? Hearing the sarcasm in my voice, Su Yun's heart hardened. Senior brother Su, you must not slander me. I didn't speak earlier because I wanted to give you some face. Since you want me to swear, then I will swear. With that, she raised her right hand, two fingers together, placed on her brow. I, Su Yun, am willing to make a heavenly Tao oath. If what I just said is false, may my Tao heart shatter, and may I make no further progress from this moment on. Upon seeing this, Su Yao, though unwilling, also had no choice but to touch her own Tao heart and swear. I likewise. Hearing the oaths of Su Yun and Su Yao, Su Tianhai looked at me, his expression suddenly filled with disappointment. Now, what more do you have to say? I ignored Su Tianhai's words, merely looking at the two of them with similar disappointment. I hadn't expected that these two would go so far as to sacrifice their own Tao paths to frame me. What kind of deep-seated hatred could this be? Seeing my silence, the red-robed woman who had accompanied Su Tianhai finally spoke. Enough, Su Chun. I am truly too disappointed in you. When you were first brought back, you stole a treasured item from the sect and poisoned a celestial crane. Even with irrefutable evidence, you refused to admit it and even slandered junior brother Su Chun, claiming he did it. At the time, we thought that since you had just been brought back and didn't understand the rules, we didn't trouble you, pretending not to know for all these years, hoping you would reform. I never imagined that you not only haven't improved, but have instead escalated, colluding with the demon race and harming fellow disciples. When discovered, you still refused to admit it and even threatened junior sister to take the blame for you. Do you have any sense of responsibility at all? Now the evidence is irrefutable. Are you still trying to deny it? I looked up, my gaze heavy as I stared at this nominal sister of mine, Suongling. Listening to her cold, questioning words, my heart couldn't help but gradually grow cold, feeling both pain and disappointment. I never thought that my most revered sister wouldn't believe me either. Stealing a treasured item, poisoning a celestial crane. Back then, I had just been found by my parents and brought back to the palace. I accidentally discovered that the adopted son, Su Chun, had somehow stolen the Heavenly Evolution Palace's most prized possession, the Heavenly Evolution Pearl. After I discovered him, he actually turned the tables, making a preemptive strike by accusing me of stealing the Heavenly Evolution Pearl. And afterwards, the celestial crane he raised was inexplicably poisoned, and rumors spread throughout the sect. Everyone was saying that I harbored resentment and sought revenge. At the time, I could only do my best to explain to my sister and provide evidence. I explained the whole story from beginning to end. Fortunately, Su Hongling didn't blame me in the slightest. After she understood, she even strictly forbade me from mentioning it again. I thought she believed me, and that her forbidding me to bring it up again was out of fear of embarrassing Su Chun. But now it seems she has not an ounce of trust in me. No wonder, ever since that incident, our relationship has grown increasingly distant. It turns out she never believed me from beginning to end. I've said it before, if I didn't do it, then I didn't do it. What do you mean the evidence is conclusive? Does their oath make it true? Su Hongling's tone was icy. Is it not? Who would joke about their own future? I scoffed, immediately covering my Tao heart with one hand and pointing to the heavens with the other. If that's the case, then I, Su Chun, also swear here. If the demon sect incident last night had even the slightest connection to me, may my Tao heart shatter and my path to immortality be severed. Hear me also swear. Everyone in the hall was astonished. None of them had expected that I would also make a heavenly Tao oath. It was Su Hongling who reacted first, looking at me with even greater loathing. Gu Chun, I can't believe that to avoid punishment, you would actually make a heavenly Tao oath and lie. I am truly too disappointed in you. Hearing Su Hongling's words, my heart felt an unbearable sting. Making a heavenly Tao oath and lying? What? Her heavenly Tao oath is true, but mine is false. Sister, aren't you a bit too partial? Su Hongling scoffed coldly. I don't have such a malicious younger brother like you. Also, I never show favoritism to anyone. I only look at the facts. Now the evidence is conclusive. Guards, seize Su Chun for me. As her words fell, the disciples of the enforcement hall in the palace began to surround me. I gave a self-deprecating laugh. What? You only look at facts, don't you? The facts aren't even clear yet, and you're so impatient to convict me. Hearing my words, Su Hongling hesitated for a moment, then waved away the enforcement hall disciples. All right, since you say you didn't do it, then produce evidence to prove your innocence. My lips curved into a smirk. Prove my innocence? Simple. With those words, I took out a dagger, drew out a drop of heart blood, and dabbed it on my glabella. I, Su Chun, hereby swear upon my divine soul, making a deadly heavenly Tao vow. The demonic cultivator incident last night has absolutely no relation to me. Should this vow be false, may divine lightning strike my crown, heaven and earth condemn me to annihilation, and may I never reincarnate for 10,000 generations. Having spoken, I looked sarcastically at Su Yao and Su Yun. You too, do you dare to make such a vow? Hearing this, both their expressions turned extremely ugly. A deadly heavenly Tao vow was different from a mere heavenly Tao vow. It used the oath-taker's heart-blood as a bond and half of their divine soul as its foundation. If the vow were false, the heavens would truly send down thunder, obliterating both divine soul and physical body. People genuinely died from it. They had just put their immortal path at risk. That was one thing, and that would only affect this lifetime. But if they were to lie again now, not only would they die, but their divine souls would be utterly destroyed, never to enter reincarnation, truly and completely vanishing from this world. Flustered and helpless, the two cast pleading glances at Su Chun. Su Chun paused briefly, but reacted extremely quickly. Brother Chun, is taking an oath the only way for you to prove yourself, as you claim? Just now, you said to make a heavenly Tao vow, and Yun'er and the others followed your lead. But now you're talking about making a deadly vow. Why should everything be done according to your ideas? Do we have to do whatever you say? I sneered. What's the point of saying all this? Is it because you don't dare? Su Chen's expression froze. It's not that we don't dare. Since you made a deadly vow, I believe you wouldn't collude with demonic cultivators. But I also believe Yun'er wouldn't falsely accuse you without reason. Perhaps there's some misunderstanding involved. A deadly heavenly Tao vow requires one to swear with their heart blood and half of their divine soul. Even if the vow is true, it has a significant impact on the oath taker. Yun'er has always had a delicate constitution. Can't you be considerate of her? Hearing this, the sarcastic smile on my lips deepened. If you don't dare, just say you don't dare. Don't pretend to be something you're not. Enough. My master, Shun Rushue, slammed the table. Su Chun, Yun'er is right. Your junior sister has always had poor health, so don't force her to carve out her heart blood and swear an oath. Even if you make a deadly vow, there are treasures in this world that can obscure heavenly secrets. This still doesn't prove the truth or falsehood of your words. You should still look for other ways to prove yourself. Hearing Shun Rushue's words, I turned and looked at Su Tianhai, whose expression was grim. I dared to make a deadly vow, while they stammered and didn't dare. Isn't that enough to prove the point? But as Shun Rushue spoke, Su Tianhai remained silent. The usual favoritism. I shook my head in self-mockery, then looked at Su Yun. If you're afraid to swear an oath, that's fine too. We can also search her soul. Hearing this, Su Yun and Su Yao both trembled again. No, that won't do. I sneered, why won't it do again? Su Chun spoke up, soul searching is a demonic art. The sea of consciousness of the one whose soul is searched will suffer irreversible damage. How can that be allowed? Means have no distinction between righteous and demonic, I said, turning my head to look at Su Tianhai. Father is at the mid-spirit transformation stage, and Su Yun is merely golden core. As long as she relaxes her mind, soul-searching won't cause her any harm. What do you think, Brother Chen? Hearing me say this, Su Chun didn't know how to refute it. Just as Su Yun was panicking, Su Hongling, who was standing by, had already spoken. Soul-searching is fine, but we'll have to search yours. My heart sank. Why? Su Hongling sneered. Why? Even if what you say is true and soul-searching doesn't cause much harm, it will still have some impact on the person being searched. All of this was caused by you. You're the one who needs to prove your innocence, and you're the one who proposed soul-searching. This impact naturally falls on you to bear. Moreover, Su Yun is a girl. Girls need their privacy. If we don't search you, who should we search? Su Yao and Su Chun nodded repeatedly upon hearing this. Exactly. Yun'er is a girl, so it's inconvenient. If we're going to search Su Chen's. My eyes gleamed with a cold light. On what grounds? I just asked them to swear a poisonous oath, and they refused. Now I propose soul-searching, and you want to search mine? Su Hongling's eyes flickered slightly. So what? Since you yourself said soul-searching doesn't have much impact, why can't we search yours? Further talk is useless. Are you going to allow soul-searching or not? watching the aggressive Su Hongling and the others, feeling my master and father's continued silence. I smiled. What a sister, what favoritism. There's no way I'll let you search my soul. I harbored secrets in my heart, so it was naturally impossible for me to allow them to search my soul. Seeing me refuse with a shake of my head, Su Chan impatiently jumped out. Brother, you were the one who suggested soul searching, and you're also the one who's not allowing it. You're so resistant. Could it be that you have something to hide? Hearing Su Chin's words, I only found it amusing. You're the ones who dare not swear a poisonous oath, and you're also the ones who won't allow soul searching. What do you mean I have something to hide? Your skill at twisting the facts is certainly becoming more proficient. Having said that, I looked at Shun Rushua. Since you don't dare to allow soul searching, it's fine. There's another method. Please bring out the Heavenly Insight Mirror. The Heavenly Insight Mirror, also known as the Heavenly Evolution Profound Insight Mirror, is the most precious treasure of the Heavenly Evolution Sacred Palace. Driven by vital essence, cultivation, and lifespan, it can retrace the past. Hearing my words, Su Chin's expression subtly changed. No, why bother disturbing the Heavenly Evolution's most precious treasure for such a minor matter? I sneered. You call someone colluding with the demonic tribe, stealing the supreme treasure Heavenly Evolution Pearl, and murdering a fellow senior disciple a minor matter? Su Chan was speechless. Just as the atmosphere became awkward, Su Tianhai finally spoke. Enough. This matter ends here. I abruptly raised my head, looking at Su Tianhai in disbelief. Ends here. Hearing Su Tianhai's words, my heart couldn't help but feel a surge of suffocation. Ends here. Ha! Ends here again, that familiar phrase. Every time I was about to prove my innocence and reveal the truth, Su Tianhai would say, this matter ends here. In the past, during my training in an ancient secret realm, I accidentally discovered the sacred medicine, Profound Heaven Flower. To obtain it, I battled the guardian spirit dragon for a day and a night. Just as I finally slayed the flood dragon and was about to claim the heaven-mending flower, Su Chun ambushed me from behind and stole the sacred medicine. After exiting the secret realm, I argued with him, but he twisted the facts, claiming that he had slain the flood dragon and that I had tried to snatch the flower. No one believed my explanation. Those disciples clearly hadn't seen anything, yet they all chose to step forward and provide false testimony for Su Chun. At that time, just like now, I was pointed at by 1,000 fingers. To prove my innocence, I suggested using the Heavenly Insight Mirror to retrace events. Su Tianhai lightly uttered, this matter ends here. And it truly did end there. Back then, to maintain harmony among brothers and avoid making things too awkward, there was no argument, and the matter was left unresolved. But now, again, it's let's stop here. Su Tianhai, as the head of a Taoist lineage, was experienced, knowledgeable, and had judged countless people. Based on the behavior of Su Yao, Su Yin, Su Chun, and myself, he could easily judge who was lying. Yet when I was framed back then, he remained silent. Now that the truth is about to be revealed, he again says, let's stop here. This blatant favoritism made me feel as if I had fallen into an icy abyss. Let's stop here? On what ground should we stop here? Su Tianhai heard my tone, and his brows furrowed. You are my son. I am protecting you. I couldn't help but sneer. Protecting me? Do you even believe that yourself? Everyone says I colluded with the demonic sect, and you asked me to prove my innocence. First, I asked them to swear a venomous oath, but they dared not. Second, I asked for a soul search, but they refused. Now, I asked to bring out the Heavenly Deduction Mirror, and you're still making excuses and putting up obstacles. Isn't that ridiculous? Su Hongling angrily retorted. Su Chun, what kind of attitude is that? How dare you speak to Father like that? Father is doing this for you, so you won't be too embarrassed later. Su Chun also spoke up. Brother Chun, Father is truly doing this for your own good. He doesn't want things to escalate to an embarrassing point. I sneered, no need. If you're truly for my good, then quickly bring out the Heavenly Deduction Mirror. Shinrushu said, Rebellious wretch, fine. Since you're so obstinate, I'll grant your wish to summon the heavenly deduction mirror. However, to activate it, you must consume your lifespan, burn your cultivation, and suffer immense loss. I will not help you. Hearing this, I looked at Su Tianhai. He watched me indifferently, remaining silent, clearly unwilling to expend his cultivation to help me rewind the past. I gave a self-deprecating smile. It's fine, I'll do it myself. Shenrushua nodded upon hearing this. With a flick of her green sleeve, a brilliant jade mirror soared up from the ancestral hall, finally hovering before me. Spiritual energy, lifespan, or fortune, choose one to inject into it. However, I must warn you, these are irreversible. I advise you to stop here, lest you damage your cultivation, lose face, and suffer a double loss just for a moment's impulse. I shot a cold glance at Shenrushua. Without the slightest hesitation, I directly burned my cultivation and injected it into the heavenly deduction mirror. Heavenly mirror, rewind. As my words fell, in an instant, mysterious Taoist sounds resounded from the mirror. The heavenly mirror bloomed with brilliant light, reflecting the images of all creation. Seeing that I showed not the slightest hesitation, Shenrushua was momentarily bewildered and couldn't help but murmur, "Could it be? I really wronged him." The reflected light gathered in the void, forming a brilliant light screen. On the screen, scenes continuously rewound, finally stopping at yesterday. In the scene, during the first half of the night, Su Yun sent me a message via a flying crane, saying she had encountered problems in her cultivation and hoped I would go there to guide her. After seeing the message, I didn't hesitate, immediately flying my sword into her cave abode to guide her. After I finished guiding her, Su Yun spoke, asking me to go to the Heavenly Treasure Hall to research some martial arts techniques for her. And Su Yun, meanwhile, stealthily followed behind. From her perspective, at that time, there was indeed someone negotiating with the demon race, and then the two of them jointly attacked, killed the gatekeeping disciple, and stole the greatest treasure of the Heavenly Treasure Hall. But that person was wearing a black robe and a bamboo hat that could conceal their figure and aura, so it was unknown who they were. But that person absolutely could not have been me, because the Heaven Secret Mirror's other perspective showed me cultivating in the back mountain all night. Therefore, Su Yun's slander that I colluded with the demonic sect was absolutely incorrect, and the whole truth has been revealed. It seems we truly misunderstood Su Chun. Last night, he cultivated in the back mountain all night. So, it truly was junior sister Su Yun who framed Su Chun. But why would she do such a thing? The disciples in the hall discussed endlessly as they watched the scenes projected by the Heaven's Secret Mirror. I looked at Su Yun and the others with an indifferent expression. Now, what do you have to say for yourselves? Su Yun's face was extremely unsightly. She opened her mouth, but couldn't utter a single word. Just then, Shenrushua came out to mediate, saying, "Chen'er, it seems now that we truly misunderstood you. But this isn't your junior sister's fault either. After all, that person's build was somewhat similar to yours, and it's normal for Yuner to make a mistake. Let her apologize to you, and we'll consider this matter settled." Hearing this, Su Yun quickly chimed in, Yes, senior brother. I was mistaken. I'm sorry, can you forgive me?" Watching the two of them play off each other, my heart was filled with towering rage. Made a mistake? Su Yun and I spend day and night together. How could she possibly mistake me? Forgive. Just now, you were going to throw me into the celestial prison. Now you expect forgiveness with just a simple "I'm sorry." Seeing my words, Su Hongling's face was filled with indignation. What kind of attitude is that? Didn't we just misunderstand you? Didn't little Yun apologize to you? Do you have to be so petty? I'm petty. Hearing this, I pointed at myself in disbelief, my heart throbbing with unbearable pain. Su Hongling, that was slander. If I hadn't activated this Heaven's Secret Mirror to retrace events today, the crime of colluding with the demonic sect would likely have been pinned on me. Given your usual ways, you would probably have crippled my cultivation and thrown me into the celestial prison. But now I have burned my cultivation to successfully prove my innocence, and even offered my heart's blood to swear a venomous oath. Can the losses I've suffered be offset by your mere misunderstanding and a single I'm sorry? Su Hongling fell into an uncharacteristic silence. After a long while, she finally spoke. What do you want? My gaze was indifferent as I turned to look at Su Yun. Since you've made a mistake, you naturally have to pay the price. Seeing me walk towards her step by step, Su Yun couldn't help but feel a little flustered. Say, senior brother, what are you trying to do? I gave a mocking smile and, without hesitation, directly formed my fingers into a sword and unleashed a strike. Sword light flickered and blood splattered. Su Yun only felt the world instantly turn black. Looking at Su Yun, whose eyes were bleeding and who was wailing on the ground, my tone was indifferent. Since your eyes are blind, there's no need for them to remain. My sudden sword strike directly shocked everyone in the hall. No one had expected that I would dare to make a move. Ignoring the fearful gazes of the crowd, I turned my head again to look at Su Yao, who had just slandered me. As my Tao protector, yet you colluded with others to betray and frame me. What punishment do you deserve? Su Yao ni torted. I didn't frame you. You clearly sent a voice transmission just now, telling me to kill Su Yun afterward. She was confident that the heavenly fate mirror could not replay voice transmissions, and so flatly denied it. My voice was low and eerie. Oh, you say I sent you a voice transmission. May I ask, which ear heard my voice transmission? Su Yao hesitated for a moment before replying. Naturally, both ears heard it. Young Master Su Chun, do you have any objections? Seeing Su Yao flatly deny it, I smiled. I clearly didn't send a voice transmission just now, but you said you heard it. This indicates there's something wrong with your ears. Since there's something wrong with your ears, keeping them is useless. So let's cut them off. I'll help you. No need to thank me. As I finished speaking, without waiting for Su Yao to react, I again formed my fingers into a sword and unleashed 2 sword fingers. These 2 sword strikes, with irresistible force, directly severed Su Yao's left and right ears. Everyone watching this bloody scene was somewhat stunned. Not only were they astonished by my ruthlessness, but they were even more surprised by my strength. Although it was a sudden attack, Su Yao was, after all, a genuine nascent soul mid-stage expert. The fact that I could easily injure her made it clear that my strength had to be at least at the nascent soul stage. But I had only been found and brought back to the sect 5 years ago. Clearly, 5 years ago, I was still just a mortal who had not yet stepped onto the path of cultivation. But now, a gasp. Weren't the rumors saying Su Chun was a good-for-nothing? Hadn't he never cultivated when he was found? That's right, he only started cultivating at 18, already missing the optimal time. But now, in just 5 short years, he's cultivated from a mortal to a nascent soul realm cultivator. Such talent, it's terrifyingly prodigious. Ignoring the disciples' whispers, I walked step by step towards Su Yao, seeing the undisguised killing intent in my eyes. Su Yao's heart was filled with terror. You don't come any closer. Seeing this, Su Hongling quickly stepped forward, blocking Su Yao. Su Chun, what exactly do you want? Show mercy where it's due. Could it be that you still want to kill Yao Yao? She and Su Yao were inseparable best friends. Earlier, knowing she was in the wrong, she hadn't stopped me from acting. Now, seeing that I still wanted to push my luck, she naturally stepped forward to intervene. I didn't answer, merely gazing at Su Yao with indifferent eyes, a hidden force quietly gathering in my hand. As for me, I loathed betrayal most of all. But just as I was about to make my move, suddenly 2 figures, one old and one young, burst into the main hall. The instant I recognized their faces, my eyes twitched almost imperceptibly. Yin Shui, Peak Master Jade Pond Peak, my birth mother. Yun Mingyao, Saintess of Jade Pond, my fiancée. But at this moment, neither of them spared me even a glance. Yin Mingyao rushed straight into Su Chen's embrace. Yin Shui, meanwhile, looked at the 2 of them with doting affection. Witnessing this scene, My fists clenched imperceptibly. From the moment I was born, my parents had arranged my marriage with Yun Mingyao. But due to their negligence, I was abducted by enemies. It wasn't until 5 years ago that I was found and reunited with my family. An arranged marriage by our parents and matchmakers. As my fiancée, I naturally did everything in my power to treat her well. Yet, for Su Chun, she repeatedly abandoned me. When I argued with him, she said she only regarded Su Chun as an older brother. But are there siblings who embrace and act lovey-dovey? Since you don't like me, why didn't you proactively propose to end the engagement? While comfortably enjoying my kindness, you're canoodling with my unrelated brother. And now, you're even less discreet, openly throwing yourself into Su Chen's arms in front of so many disciples. You simply left me no face at all. Brother Su Chun, what happened? Yun Mingyao had been too excited when she just entered and hadn't noticed what had transpired. Now, suddenly sensing something was off with the atmosphere, she opened her mouth to ask. Hearing this, Su Chun recounted what had just happened, adding his own exaggerated details. Hearing Su Chen's explanation, Yun Mingyao also looked at me with disgust. Su Chun, aren't you being far too malicious? It's not that I'm lecturing you, but for a grown man to be so petty, wasn't it just a misunderstanding? Su Yao and the others have already apologized to you, yet you so viciously cut off their eyes and ears. As if that weren't enough, you even wanted to kill them. You're simply ruthless and cruel. I coldly stared at Yun Mingyao, a wave of pain welling up in my heart once more. This was the person I had treated with all my heart for 5 years. I never imagined she would be so biased, so unreasonable. It was clearly I who suffered the grievance, yet now she was blaming me for not being magnanimous enough. A shadow involuntarily crept into the corner of my eyes. What are you doing here? Seeing that I didn't answer her question, Yun Mingyao felt anger involuntarily rise in her heart. What am I doing here? Of course, I'm here to break off our engagement. I saw how well you treated me these past 5 years, and originally, I felt a little guilty about breaking off the engagement. But seeing you now, so petty-minded, breaking off our engagement will be the most correct choice I've ever made. As she spoke, she even deliberately snuggled deeper into Su Chen's arms. My Dao companion is a peerless prodigy like Brother Su Chun, not a malicious piece of trash like you. Having said that, Yun Mingyao flipped her hand, producing the marriage contract written when we first became engaged. With a light flick of her sleeve, she swept the marriage contract in front of me. Sign it. I lower my head, gazing at the marriage contract before me. After a brief silence, I raised my head. I looked at my silent father, Su Tianhai. Then I looked at my mother, Yun Shui, who watched coldly from the sidelines. I gazed at my sister, Su Hongling, her eyes blazing with indignation. I gazed at my master, Shun Rushua, her face contorted in fury. And I looked at Su Yun and Su Yao, their eyes flickering with venomous glints. Feeling the countless malicious and mocking gazes within the hall, an endless sorrow involuntarily welled up in my heart. I was clearly the true young master of the Heavenly Edict Holy Palace, my parents' biological son. Why were they all treating me like this? I was abducted shortly after birth. My enemies, in their quest for revenge, subjected me to countless torments. When they threw me into the demonic abyss, I had only one breath left. Had I not unexpectedly awakened the divine demonic physique, I fear I would have long since perished in the demonic abyss. As a mere child, I stayed in the bottomless demonic abyss for 10 years. A full decade. I don't even know how I managed to get through it. All of this was, in essence, a calamity of my parents' making. But when I was brought back to the Holy Palace, I never mentioned any of it, afraid that they would be sad for me. I lived alone since childhood. Though I feigned strength on the surface, my heart deeply yearned for kinship. Therefore, after returning to the palace, I desperately tried to be good to them, even though they were not good to me. They showered their adopted son, Su Chun, with extreme affection, completely ignoring me. Everyone in the sect, from top to bottom, also favored him. Whatever Su Chun said was right, and whatever I did was wrong. At first, I didn't care, thinking that if I didn't compete or fight and just please them, I could win their favor back. But the truth was I was wrong, terribly wrong. Su-chan repeatedly targeted and slandered me. I explained and defended myself again and again. If I couldn't produce evidence, it was considered my doing. If I did produce evidence, they would tell me to be magnanimous and forgive. It was always like this, and it still is. My parents repeatedly trampled all over me for Su-chan's sake, repeatedly trampling on my true feelings. Human hearts are not made of stone. So, I gradually began to distance myself from them and started treating those close to me with more sincerity. For instance, Su-yun, the sister I took in and lived with day and night, and Su-yao, my inseparable guardian. But now, both of them have betrayed me too. To curry favor with Su-chan, they even went so far as to sacrifice their own immortal paths to frame me. And there are my master Shun Rushue, whom I treated with sincerity, and my fiancé Yun Mingyao. One is blind in both eye and heart, the other is biased towards outsiders. When others slandered me, not a single one of my closest people believed me. Now, I've gouged out my heart's blood, sworn a solemn vow, and expended my lifespan to retrace the past and prove my innocence. Yet they told me I was petty-minded and asked me to be magnanimous and forgive. Sincerity doesn't by sincerity. It only brings back more severe mistreatment. Now, I only feel that these 5 years of dedication have been nothing but a joke. And I myself am the biggest joke. Ha 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 ha. Staring at the marriage contract before me, I couldn't control myself. I cried and laughed uproariously at the sky. The experiences of these 5 years felt like a dream. I had been lost in a drunken stupor within it. But now, it's time for the dream to end. Seeing me both crying and laughing, Yun Mingyao still thought her proposal to break off the engagement had upset me. Su-chan, quickly sign the annulment and let's part ways amicably. Yun Mingyao's words snapped me back from my memories. I looked at her, then at the marriage contract before me. Part ways amicably? With a sneer, I reached out and tore the marriage contract directly in half. What are you doing? Yun Mingyao shrieked, looking at me with even greater disgust as I tore up the engagement and annulment agreement. Su-chan, I know you can't bear to part with me, but the two of us are impossible. Doing this will only make me look down on you even more. Hearing Yun Mingyao's inexplicably confident words, my tone was utterly indifferent. Who can't bear to part with you? Yun Mingyao sneered, still pretending. You tore up the marriage contract. Isn't that because you can't bear to let go, don't want to break off the engagement with me? The corner of my lips curled up, and my gaze gradually turned icy cold with my words. No, I tore up the marriage contract, not because I couldn't bear to part with you. Rather, in Su-chan's life, there is no divorce. Only widowhood. The instant the last words were spoken, a giant sword formed from spiritual energy suddenly materialized in my hand. I directly swung the sword and slashed at Yun Mingyao. My hand rose, the sword fell. The void boomed, and sword chi surged. My single sword strike, utterly destructive, directly cut off Yun Mingyao's head, along with Su-chan and Su-yun, who were beside Yun Mingyao. Both were blasted away by the sword chi. Everyone stared blankly at all of this, no one having expected that the formerly weak me would possess such strength and be so decisively murderous. To actually dare, in broad daylight, to attack and kill the holy maiden of Jade Pond. Yaoer, seeing her disciple killed by me, Yun Shui was the first to react. She immediately flashed forward and embraced Yun Mingyao, using a secret art to connect body and soul and imprison the spirit, preventing it from dissipating. Shun Shui was the second to react. Seeing that I dared to kill, especially since the victim was the holy maiden of Jade Pond, she was utterly furious. Wicked disciple, she roared and directly mobilized all her spiritual power to suppress me. My immortal cultivation was only at the nascent soul mid-stage, and Shun Shui was 3 minor realms higher than me. Moreover, I hadn't expected Shun Shui to attack me, so I took her palm strike squarely. But my body had been tempered by demonic chi for over 10 years, and my physical strength was formidable, so I was largely unharmed. I slowly stood up, wiping the blood from the corner of my mouth, and glared fiercely at Shun Rushua. Looking at my crimson eyes, for some reason, Shun Rushua's heart trembled in fear. She didn't make another move. Instead, she called out to others. Disciples of the law enforcement hall, seize this traitorous disciple for me. As her words fell, countless law enforcement hall disciples reacted and swarmed towards me, surrounding me. Kill! I watched the law enforcement hall disciples surging towards me to kill, my eyes blazing with killing intent. I am no saint. I'm not without a temper. But in the past, for the sake of brotherly harmony and friendship, for the sex peace, I endured for 5 years. But now, I refuse to endure any longer. A bunch of ants daring to lay hands on me. I gripped the sword in my hand tightly and slashed forward with a single strike. Terrifying and domineering destructive sword energy swept through with devastating force, directly slaying 100 Golden Core disciples who had come to encircle and kill me. The entire hall was stunned, dumbfounded. The previously noisy main hall suddenly fell into a deathly silence once more. No one had expected that I would actually be capable of slaying so many Golden Core disciples with a single sword strike. Nor did they dare to imagine that I would actually dare to kill these law enforcement hall disciples. You brute! Shinrushua had originally thought that her previous palm strike had already severely wounded me, and that sending people to capture me would suffice. But now, I had actually, in front of her very eyes, slain 100 disciples with a single sword strike. Truly arrogant and utterly senseless. Rebellious disciple, do you truly believe that a bit of strength allows you to act with impunity? To dare to harm fellow disciples in front of me? You're seeking death. As her words fell, she raised her sword and charged at me to kill. Seeing the undisguised killing intent in her eyes, that she truly wanted to kill me, my heart couldn't help but ache. Are you really going to kill me? Shinrushua's eyes flickered slightly, but quickly returned to normal. What? Are you afraid now? Regretting it, wanting to beg for mercy. Too late. Why weren't you afraid when you made your move just now? Who are you putting on this act for now? I shook my head, my voice filled with heartbreak. I truly am regretting it. I regret having joined your sect back then. I regret painstakingly caring for and serving you day and night. I regret venturing into perilous secret realms to find holy medicine to treat your hidden injuries. Hearing my words, a flicker of unnaturalness flashed in Shun Rushua's eyes. Back then, when I had just been found and brought back to the palace. After all, as the palace master's own child, I was still very popular. Many other elders promised great benefits, wanting to take me as their disciple. But I resolutely chose Shun Rushua, who was utterly destitute at the time, simply because she said she would always be good to me. Initially, she was indeed very good to me. Due to my childhood experiences, I had developed a people-pleasing personality. So, whoever was good to me, I would surely repay them 100-fold. Thus, when Shun Rushua fought a great battle with the demonic sect, suffered severe injuries, and was on the brink of death, I stayed by her side, never abandoning her, painstakingly caring for her, even going so far as to use the essence blood of my divine body to save her. Fortunately, her life was saved. But due to the severity of her injuries, her foundation was damaged, and she would be forever stuck at the nascent soul stage, with no hope of reaching spirit transformation. From then on, her personality changed drastically. She would scold and hit me all day long. Unable to bear her growing despondency, I ventured alone into the forbidden divine land, narrowly escaping death to obtain the immortal medicine, sky-mending grass, for her. Only then was she able to repair her foundation, break through to the spirit transformation stage, and become the palace master. I treated her with such sincerity, and her harshness towards me in the past was one thing I could accept. But now, she actually wants to kill me. How could this not make one's heart turn cold? Shun Rushue snorted coldly. Traitorous disciple, are you saying all this to play on my emotions? It's not like I asked you to take care of me, nor did I ask you to venture into that perilous forbidden land. Besides, I cultivated you for 5 years and brought you to your current strength. Can that not outweigh a mere sky mending grass? So all that you said is useless. Today, I shall purge the sect. Hearing Shun Rushue's words, my heart died completely, and the last shred of light in my eyes vanished. You're right, you cultivated me for 5 years. Since that's the case, I shall return this cultivation to you to repay our 5 years as master and disciple. With those words, a trace of madness flashed in my eyes. Without hesitation, I directly ignited all of my cultivation. Though burning my cultivation was incredibly painful compared to the agony in my heart, it was utterly insignificant. Feeling the aura around me steadily rising, Shun Rushue was shocked. You're insane. If you burn your cultivation, you'll end up a cripple. I remained silent. I simply raised my sword and slashed towards Shun Rushue. Seeing my actions, Shun Rushue snorted coldly. Do you really think burning your cultivation to briefly reach the god transformation stage will allow you to fight me? It's like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. I am a true god transformation realm expert. As she finished speaking, she too slashed with a sword. However, she underestimated my strength and overestimated her own abilities. With just one sword strike, she was blasted flying backward, creating a huge, deep pit in the bluestone floor. As the smoke and dust dispersed, she lay in the deep pit, spitting out fresh blood, her aura weak. Su Chun actually defeated Palace Master Shun. The people in the hall, seeing this scene, all gasped and looked at me in disbelief. Although Shun Rushue was only in the early god transformation stage, she was, after all, a true god transformation realm expert. Her strength was far beyond what someone like me, who had merely boosted their cultivation by burning it, could achieve. They hadn't expected me to possess such strength. Just as everyone was shocked, I moved again, my figure flickering as I raised my sword and aimed for Shun Rushue's neck. You unfilial wretch. Your violent actions over a mere misunderstanding might have been one thing, but now you dare to murder your master? This is utterly heinous. Su Tianhai had been observing the entire situation. He had originally thought that Shun Rushue's intervention would be enough to subdue me, and so he had remained a bystander. But he hadn't expected me to be so decisive, so ruthless, determined to kill Shun Rushue, even if it meant burning all my cultivation. Shun Rushue, at least, possessed god transformation realm cultivation and was a pillar of the Holy Palace. He couldn't just watch her die before his eyes. A thought flashed through Su Tianhai's mind, and he flashed to stand before her, blocking the fatal blow. You mean to stop me? My gaze was indifferent as I looked at Su Tianhai, who stood before Shun Rushue. A murderous intent also flickered in Su Tianhai's eyes. Rebellious son, was killing the sacred maiden of Jade Lake not enough for you? Now you want to kill your own master too? I sneered. Her life was saved by me back then. What's wrong with me killing her now? You are truly insane, Su Tianhai declared, then swung his palm to suppress me. You can't stop me. As I finished speaking, I accelerated the speed at which I burned my cultivation, and an even more powerful, more violent energy surged through my body. Augmented by this terrifying immense power, even Su Tianhai, who was in the middle god transformation stage, was no match and was blasted flying by a single punch from me. Sensing the terrifying might contained within the punch, Su Tianhai's face changed drastically, and he no longer cared about his dignity as palace master. Help! Someone, let's all attack together. Hearing Su Tianhai's words, Mother Yun Shui dared not hesitate, immediately unleashing her divine ability to strike at me. 2 elders from the Holy Palace, both at the soul transformation stage, also joined the battle upon hearing this, ganging up on me. Rebellious son, I have 4 soul transformation experts here. Why don't you quickly bind your hands and submit? Hearing this, not only did I feel no fear, but I was even faintly excited. Come and fight. With those words, utterly fearless, I drew my sword and charged into the encirclement of the 4. As the saying goes, the barefoot are not afraid of those with shoes. Relying on my divine demon physique, I completely adopted a fighting style of trading injuries for lives. I hated Su Tianhai's favoritism, so throughout the entire battle, I only targeted Su Tianhai. This battle lasted for a full 2 hours. During these 2 hours, not only did I not lose, but I even faintly gained the upper hand. Originally, I was about to kill Su Tianhai at the last moment. Unfortunately, at the critical moment, a soul transformation elder used his own body to shield him from the fatal blow. Su Tianhai survived, but he died. In this battle, of the 4 of them, 1 died, 1 was injured, and 2 were unharmed. As for me, my spiritual energy was depleted, and I became an ordinary mortal. The disciples in the hall watched me with looks of shock. They hadn't expected that I alone could fight 4 soul transformation experts without being at a disadvantage, and even killed 1 of them. This power was truly terrifying. Just as everyone fell silent, seeing that I had no strength left to fight, Su Hongling finally spoke. Father, Su Chun is narrow-minded. For a mere misunderstanding, he harmed fellow disciples and even murdered Saintess Mengyao. I hope Father will uphold justice for the deceased disciples and sentence him to the ultimate punishment. Su Chun also echoed her, kneeling on the ground. That's right, Brother Su Chun is so brutal and bloodthirsty, an unworthy son. Please, Father, do not show leniency. Su Yun and Su Yao, hearing Su Chen's words, also became faintly agitated. We hope the palace master will uphold justice for us. The disciples in the hall also shouted upon hearing this. We beg the palace master to uphold justice for junior sister Su, for Saintess Yun, and for our deceased fellow disciples. The sound shook the heavens and echoed ceaselessly. Su Tianhai was panting heavily, a look of lingering fear on his face. He only recovered upon hearing his disciples' shouts. Seeing me, now a cripple, he let out a heavy, troubled sigh. You unfilial wretch! I truly shouldn't have brought you back then. I should have let you die outside. Hearing this, I couldn't help but sneer. What? Haven't you been beaten enough just now? Daring to speak to me with such defiance. Su Tianhai's fingers trembled violently in anger. You, my tone was sarcastic. You what? You don't need to say anything. If I had known you were like this earlier, I wouldn't have come back with you for anything. Hearing this, Yin Shui couldn't help but interject. Su Chun, how have you become like this? We welcomed you back, providing you with good food and drink, treating you so well. How has it become our fault now? You said if you had known earlier. Tell us then, what have we done? What have we done to wrong you? I responded with a sneer. This state? What state? Isn't this state of mine entirely thanks to you? Don't you have any idea what you've done in your hearts? Clearly, I am your biological son, yet you show boundless favoritism towards your adopted son. Yin Shui's tone was full of indignation. What do you mean we favor Chun'er? It's all your own doing. As soon as you returned to the sect, you stole the sect's most precious treasure. Chun'er reported you, yet you harbored resentment and poisoned the immortal crane he raised. You even snuck into the hot springs palace and peeped at female disciples bathing. In the secret realm, you also tried to snatch Chun'er's sacred medicine, and after leaving the secret realm, despite so many disciples bearing witness, you still try to turn the tables and blame others. With one incident after another like these, how can we possibly treat you with an ordinary mind anymore? Hearing this, the mockery on my lips intensified. If it were truly like that, then your favoritism would be beyond reproach. But are these things truly what I did? Su Hongling couldn't help but interject. If these weren't done by you, then who else could have done them? I responded with a sneer. Naturally, it's your good brother, your good son, Su Chun. Yun Shui immediately retorted. Chun'er is so kind-hearted. That's impossible. Hearing Yun Shue's words, I could only find them laughable. Madam Yun, do you believe those words yourself? Su Hongling doesn't know. She's young. She's foolish, so it's excusable. But you've lived for so long. Can't you see such obvious framing and false accusations? No, of course you can see it. But deep down, you're unwilling to believe that the child you raised for 18 years is this kind of person. So, you don't delve deeper. Just like Su Tianhai, every time I'm falsely accused and try to clear my name, just as the truth is about to be revealed, you both say, let's stop here. On the surface, it's for my own good, but in reality, aren't you just showing favoritism towards Su Chun? Because of your attitude, everyone in the entire palace looks down on me, treating me as a joke. Go ahead and ask anyone, from top to bottom in the Tianyin Sacred Palace, has anyone ever treated me as the young palace master? It is precisely because of your indulgence that Su Chun can accuse me even more easily, without any burden. If I can clear my name, you tell me, let's stop here, ask me to be magnanimous and forgive, and not to dwell on it. If I can't, then it's my fault, and you can beat and scold me with a clear conscience. Is that fair? How ridiculous is that? My last words were practically a roar. Upon hearing my words, both Yun Shui and Su Tianhai's faces turned extremely ugly. I was right. As old monsters who had lived for hundreds of years, how could they not see that someone was deliberately slandering me? But they didn't take it seriously, because in their hearts, Su Chun was the biological son they had raised for 18 years. And I was merely a bastard who had been wandering outside for 18 years. So their actions were indeed biased. But these were the unspoken truths that they, as a family, and I both knew. Now that I had brought them up, they all looked somewhat uncomfortable and embarrassed. Yun Shui shook her head, refuting. No, it's not like that. I sneered, Madam Yun, then tell me, what exactly is it like? Yun Shui paused, opened her mouth, but couldn't utter a single word. Seeing this, Su Tianhai stubbornly said, how could you think of your mother and me that way? You are our flesh and blood. We're the people who love you most in this world. The reason we do this is not to cultivate you. As the young palace master of the Tianyin Sacred Palace, you must endure what ordinary people cannot. What's wrong with suffering a little injustice? If you can't even endure this little grievance, how will you inherit the great legacy and command the sacred palace in the future? Hearing Su Tianhai's sanctimonious words, I couldn't help but scoff. Do you even believe what you're saying? How could you come up with such a pathetic excuse? Love me most. When you went out to explore the secret realm, you brought back gifts for everyone in the sect, yet you completely omitted me. Back then, did any of you remember me? When Su Chun celebrated his birthday and the entire palace rejoiced, who among you ever considered that it was also my birthday? In these past 5 years, you've held 5 birthday banquets for Su Chun, but I haven't had a single one. No matter what you did, or what you possessed, you never once remembered me. Is this what you call love? As for nurturing me, when Su Chun broke through to the Golden Core stage, you proactively bestowed upon him a massive amount of heavenly treasures, earthly delights, top-grade spirit stones, and elixirs. But when I broke through to the Foundation Establishment stage, you begrudged me even a small Foundation Establishment pill when I asked for one, saying that I still needed elixirs to break through a realm and that a good-for-nothing shouldn't waste sect resources. Feeling wronged, I asked why Su Chun had them, but I didn't. Yet you replied, can you even compare to Su Chun? We'll talk about it when you break through to the Golden Core stage. Yet after I painstakingly cultivated and broke through to the Golden Core stage, not only did you not give me any rewards, but you also allowed other disciples to withhold my spirit stones, becoming even more miserly. My monthly allowance of spirit stones couldn't even compare to that of a chi refinement stage disciple. Is this what you call nurturing? Su Tianhai's face stiffened. Although he was the master of a palace and held a high position, he had heard some things about my situation. What I said was not wrong. I had indeed suffered much unfair treatment. Su Tianhai sighed, These, these matters are indeed where we've wronged you. I apologize to you here, but his tone suddenly shifted. This is not a reason for you to kill. Su Hongling also chimed in. That's right, Su Chun. You might indeed have suffered grievances, but you absolutely shouldn't have killed people. They had no personal grudge against you. So why did you kill them? My lips curled into a sneer. Why? Because they deserve to die. And besides, they're already dead. What do you intend to do about it? Su Chun, how could I have given birth to such a beast like you? Seeing my unrepentant demeanor, Yin Shui's voice was filled with heartbreak and regret. I sneered. Did I ask you to give birth to me? To give birth and not nurture? Are you fit to be a mother? Su Tianhai roared in anger. You beast! Is that how you speak to your mother? I also roared furiously. You trash! Did you forget how I suppressed and beat you just now? How dare you speak to me like that? Hearing this, Su Tianhai was first enraged, then a look of mockery spread across his face. You were only able to suppress and beat me just now by burning your own cultivation. Now that your cultivation is exhausted, what will you use to fight me? Today, this esteemed one shall cleanse the sect. I will use your head to apologize to the Holy Lord of Jade Pool. You're so stubborn. I imagine you must have some other trump card. Don't say I didn't give you a chance. Bring them all out at once. Hearing this, I couldn't help but sneer. After the cold laugh, a hint of madness flashed in my eyes. As you wish. I turned my hand, and blood chi transformed into a blade, which I plunged towards my own chest. Thump, thump, thump. As the blood blade pierced my heart, a terrifying aura erupted from my chest. Everyone stared blankly at me, not understanding what I was doing. But in their hearts, they all vaguely felt a sense of unease. Thump, thump, thump. My heart beat powerfully, each beat tugging at theirs. With each beat of my heart, the aura around me rapidly rose. Chi refining first level. Foundation establishment mid-stage. Golden core peak. In just a few breaths, the aura around me had already broken through nascent soul, reaching soul transformation. And the might was still continuously rising. Feeling the pressure of the soul transformation realm emanating from me, everyone in the great hall was utterly horrified. Didn't he burn his cultivation and become immortal? Even before he completely burned it, he was at most at the mid-stage of nascent soul, but now. What on earth is going on? How could Su Chun possibly have soul transformation realm cultivation? And this aura is actually so powerful. The terrifying might of soul transformation blasted away everyone closest to me, and the void faintly rumbled and shattered. Su Hongling, Su Yao, and the other women all looked at me with faces full of shock, their eyes filled with disbelief. They never expected that I, good-for-nothing with many notorious deeds, would actually possess such strength. Su Tianhai and Yun Shui also looked at me with grave expressions. Clearly, what I had displayed made them feel extremely threatened. What in the world is going on? Didn't this rebellious son burn out his cultivation? How can he still possess such formidable power? It was that spirit transformation realm elder who reacted first. That overflowing energy isn't spiritual energy, it's demonic energy. He's a demonic cultivator. Hearing the elder's words, everyone in the hall also understood. Dual cultivation of immortal and demonic paths. No wonder. Just now, I clearly burned out my cultivation in front of them. Yet now I can still display such power. If I cultivated the demonic path alongside the immortal path, everything would make sense. Su Hongling looked at me coldly. Su Chun, you actually cultivate demonic arts. As expected, you were the one who colluded with the demonic sect last night. I understand everything now. No wonder you suggested using the heavenly secret mirror to prove your innocence. A spirit transformation realm cultivator can split their soul and create an avatar. So, the two figures we saw in the scenes you retraced with the heavenly secret mirror were both you. You were the one cultivating in the back mountains all night, and you were also the one who colluded with the demonic race to steal the supreme treasure. The face of the person who colluded with the demonic race was unclear when viewed through the heavenly secret mirrors retracing. Clearly, because you possess a magic treasure that can obscure heavenly secrets. No wonder you previously didn't hesitate to make a heavenly Tao vow, to swear a poisonous oath. I even felt sorry for you just now, thinking I had wronged you, only to find out it really was you. Hearing Su Hongling's string of conjectures, I was practically going to laugh out of sheer anger. Idiot! Su Hongling was furious. It's come to this, and you're still pretending? Looking at Su Hongling, who thought she was so clever, I smiled helplessly. Calling her an idiot was even flattering her. I told you it's not. Never mind. If you say so, then so be it. I really wasn't in the mood to argue with her anymore. I slowly raised my hand and lightly pointed in Su Hongling's direction. In an instant, terrifying bloody chi erupted from my fingertip, instantly transforming into a giant blood-red dragon. As a prodigy of her sect, Su Hongling's reaction was also extremely swift. She immediately unleashed various means to defend. However, in the face of absolute power, everything was futile. The blood dragon shattered all resistance, piercing directly through her protective aura and leaving a noticeable deep pit in the center of her forehead. Su Hongling's pupils constricted violently. She had never imagined my power to be so immense, nor that I would actually have the heart to kill her. But she was my sister. Before she could think too much, her life force had already completely drained away. She collapsed backward, unwillingly, her eyes filled with terror. Linger, Hongling. Upon seeing me kill Su Hongling with a single finger strike, Su Tianhai and his wife, as well as Su Yao, were all astonished. They all scrambled towards her, wanting to save her. But my finger strike not only pierced through her physical body, but also through her divine soul. Even immortals couldn't save her. Su Chen, you beast. She's your sister. Watching his beloved daughter die before his eyes, Su Tianhai's rage soared to the heavens. I casually picked my ear, my tone insolent. I treated her as a sister, but did she treat me as a brother? Upon seeing my attitude, Su Tianhai was truly enraged. Rebellious son, do you truly believe that with a soul transformation realm cultivation, you can do whatever you please? Swear, Elder Tian, join me in striking and capture this wicked beast for me. With those words, he unleashed his divine ability and moved to suppress me. I scoffed. It seems the lesson I just gave you wasn't enough. As my words fell, I was equally unfazed, gripping the long sword formed from my vital energy, and met them. Just moments ago, I was merely at the nascent soul realm, yet I could single-handedly fight 4 soul transformation realm experts, and even killed one. Now that I've unsealed my soul transformation realm cultivation, dealing with 3 soul transformation realm experts would be effortless. Therefore, in no more than a dozen rounds, the 3 of them had already been defeated. I stepped on the head of that soul transformation realm elder and pointed my sword at Su Tianhai and his wife. Tell me, how do you want to die? Seeing the murderous intent in my eyes, so thick it almost spilled out, both of them were terrified. You truly want to kill us? But we are your biological parents. Hearing that, I couldn't help but sneer. Oh, now you remember you're my biological parents. Where were you when I was abducted by your enemies back then? And where were you when I was slandered by your good son, Su Chen? Now you want me to spare you, by what right? Because you have the gall? Because you're shameless? Hearing this, Su Tianhai couldn't hold back and spat out a large mouthful of fresh blood. Seeing this, the transformation realm elder, surnamed Tian, was also filled with boundless rage and couldn't help but threaten him. You beast! Killing your own sister wasn't enough. Now you want to commit patricide and matricide. I advise you to quickly release us and cripple your own cultivation. Otherwise, when the ancestor emerges from seclusion, he will surely make your life worse than death. Hearing this, I sneered disdainfully, not even bothering to lower my head. I merely infused vital energy into my tiptoes and stomped heavily downwards. Noisy. A bang echoed. That transformation realm elder's head instantly exploded like a watermelon. Watermelon juice splattered all over the main hall. Disciples unlucky enough to be splashed by the watermelon juice felt a warmth on their faces and couldn't help but scream in terror. "Su-chun, you devil!" They screamed and yelled as if insane. I frowned. Too noisy? Without hesitation, I directly raised my hand and slapped heavily in that direction. Terrifying vital energy surged, transforming into a colossal palm that instantly crushed the cluster of the noisiest disciples into meat paste. Witnessing this, the other disciples in the hall instantly fell silent, not daring to make even the slightest sound. Finally quiet. Feeling the hall quiet down, I nodded in satisfaction. I then turned to look at Su Tianhai and his wife, my expression indifferent. "It's your turn. Have you thought about how you want to die?" Su Tianhai saw murderous glints flashing in my eyes, and his heart filled with terror. "No, you rebellious son, you can't kill me. I'm the palace master of the heavenly evolution holy palace." I shook my head. "Are those your last words?" I said nothing more. Finally, he gave them a deep look, then raised his sword and struck towards them. The sword light was dazzling and brilliant. But suddenly, just as the sword energy was about to annihilate them, a mighty force emanated from the ancestral land of the Tianyin Holy Palace, devouring all the sword energy. "Enough, stop at once." A voice, ancient yet filled with endless majesty, came from beyond the heavens. Then, a towering figure crossed the void and arrived. That voice! It's the old ancestor. It's holy ancestor Tianyin. Excellent. With the holy ancestor taking action, he will surely suppress that scoundrel Su-chun. We beg the holy ancestor to act, to suppress that beast Su-chun, and avenge our fallen brethren. Holy ancestor, please act. The disciples in the hall gazed at the towering figure above the firmament, all incredibly excited. They knelt down one after another, begging the holy ancestor to act. Gazing at the figure that suddenly appeared above the firmament, my eyes also grew serious. Early tribulation transcendent stage. Not only that, but there were also 8 other old ancestors who followed closely behind him. Each one was at least at the mid-stage nascent soul realm. Seeing the 9 figures suddenly appear above their heads, Su Tianhai and the other person were overjoyed. Their hearts were filled with the relief of surviving a calamity. With the old ancestors present, the 2 of them would surely be safe and sound. Thinking of this, Su Tianhai breathed a sigh of relief, and the fear on his face transformed into arrogance. "Rebellious son, what good is your fighting skill? When you're out in the world, what truly matters is power and backing. Now, with holy ancestor and the 8 old ancestors present, why don't you quickly surrender?" Hearing Su Tianhai's arrogant words, I couldn't help but scoff. "I really hate your fucking attitude. You have no strength whatsoever, yet you love to put on airs." Su Tianhai fumed. You are utterly vulgar." I sneered. "While your strength is lacking, you did say one thing correctly. When you're out in the world, you truly do need backing." Hearing me say this, Su Tianhai thought I had accepted my fate, and his face once again became arrogant. "Good that you know. Now, why don't you quickly cripple your cultivation and kneel for mercy?" I scoffed in response. "Then how do you know I don't have backing?" Hearing my words, Su Tianhai's heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean?" I didn't answer, my gaze merely sweeping over Su Tianhai, then Yin Shui, then Shun Rushue, finally resting on Su Yun. "Brother Su-chun, what do you want to do?" Feeling my fervent gaze, Su Yun's heart also skipped a beat. The corners of my lips curved slightly upwards. "Aren't you all slandering me for colluding with demonic forces? Then today I'll collude with one and show you all." As I finished speaking, I slowly raised my hand, demonic energy surged, and I gripped towards the horizon. In an instant, the sky collapsed and the earth split, the ground shook and mountains swayed. Everyone involuntarily looked towards the dome of the sky. They saw demonic energy surge skyward, scattering into an expanse of black clouds. A tattered banner pierced through the black clouds, speeding towards us. The banner was stained with mottled bloodstains, carrying boundless might. Its speed was so great that in an instant it traversed endless void, appearing in my hand. Seeing the black banner suddenly appear in my hand, Su Tianhai and the others were utterly shocked. Isn't that our heavenly Tao Saint Palace's demon-suppressing banner? How could it be controlled by you? I gently caressed the banner, explaining, which was rare for me. This isn't your demon-suppressing banner. This is my human emperor banner. As for why it's controlled by me, it originally belonged to me. Su Tianhai visibly froze upon hearing my words, then reacted, his tone laced with astonishment. So back then, the chaos in the demon-suppressing pagoda was resolved by you? I let out a sneer. It seems you're not entirely stupid yet. The demon-suppressing pagoda was a place where orthodox forces imprisoned certain special demonic creatures. Though the demons within weren't exceptionally strong, they were almost immortal and indestructible. Once the seal's power weakened, they would break out of the pagoda, making them extremely troublesome to deal with. Back then, the demons in the demon pagoda guarded by the heavenly Tao Saint Palace had rioted. Su Tianhai, as the palace master, was frantic and stressed about this all day long. When I had just returned to the sect then, I couldn't bear to see him so exhausted. So I used my life-bound demonic artifact, the human emperor banner, as the banner to suppress the tower. When it was sealed, I had originally thought I would never need to use this banner again in my life. But who would have thought now? Hearing my admission, a fleeting look of shame flashed in Su Tianhai's eyes. He had originally thought an old ancestor of the sect had made a move. He never imagined that it was actually me silently assisting from behind the scenes. I had done so much for him, yet he treated me this way. This couldn't help but make him feel a pang of guilt in his heart. Of course, this guilt vanished in an instant. Rebellious son, even if the banner is yours, so what? Su Tianhai scoffed. Could you really use this to summon a vast army of demonic cultivators out of thin air? Hearing Su Tianhai's words, I was a little surprised, then nodded in thoughtful agreement. I didn't expect you were quite so clever. You're even preempting my answers now. Hearing my reply, Su Tianhai's face was filled with bewilderment. Just as he was about to open his mouth to say something more, I already held the human emperor banner in my hand and plunged it heavily into the floor. In an instant, demonic energy surged. With the tip of the banner as its center, it rapidly spread outwards in all directions. Then it shot up into the sky, responding from afar to the black cloud that had appeared earlier above the firmament. Within the black cloud, countless deep whirlpools suddenly appeared. As the demonic energy surged, thunder boomed. From within the whirlpools, bloodthirsty demonic cultivators emerged one by one. They were densely packed, their auras formidable, numbering in the hundreds of thousands. And as demonic energy soared skyward, demonic cultivators from the surroundings, seeing this, also rushed over from all directions. Divine son. Upon seeing my true form, all those demonic cultivators showed utter respect, kneeling and prostrating themselves. 100,000 demonic cultivators paid homage, their voices shaking the heavens, even dispersing the clouds somewhat. Witnessing this vast and magnificent scene, everyone in the Tianyin Sacred Palace was utterly stunned. This. Su Tianhai's gaze was blank. He had only said it casually, never expecting that I could actually summon a demonic cultivator army. Su Yun, Su Yao, and the others were even more bewildered. Just now, they had clearly framed me for colluding with demonic cultivators. But now I actually fucking summoned them. Moreover, among these 100,000 demonic cultivators, there were at least 24 soul transformation experts, their strength terrifyingly immense. But aren't soul transformation stage experts supposed to be high and mighty? How could such powerhouses take orders from me and even respectfully address me as divine son? No, aren't you a good-for-nothing? How is this possible? Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Especially Su Yao. She had always thought I was a good-for-nothing, spending my days drinking and carousing, and she revered strength. Therefore, when faced with Su Chen's overtures, she had betrayed me without hesitation. Who would have thought? My strength was actually so formidable, and I could even make so many soul transformation experts kneel and welcome. I wore a mocking expression, looking at the two, whose expressions varied. What? Didn't you just accuse me of colluding with demonic cultivators? Now that I have colluded, why do you look so unhappy? Hearing my words, the two women were incredibly ashamed and couldn't help but lower their heads. Noticing the unusual phenomenon in the sky and the thousands of demonic cultivators who appeared, the Tianyin Saint Lord's brows also furrowed slightly, but his tone still seemed relaxed. I didn't expect this demonic armament to have the function of cross-spatial anchoring teleportation. To be able to teleport soul transformation demonic cultivators here, that's quite impressive. Judging by the attire of these demonic cultivators, most of them must be from the heavenly demonic sect, right? I'm quite curious now, what exactly is your status in the heavenly demonic sect? To have broken through to the soul transformation stage at such a young age, and to be able to command such respect from these soul transformation demonic cultivators. Hearing this, I sneered. Are you deaf? Didn't you hear them call me divine, son? Hearing the mockery in my words, the Tianyin Saint ancestor's expression stiffened, but he still suppressed his anger. Young man, of course this ancestor heard, but as far as I know, aren't all demonic sects chosen ones called demonic sons? Where does this divine son come from? Why do they all call you divine son? I scoffed. It just means you're an ignorant fool, that's why. You old geezer, you're about to die. Why are you asking so many questions? Enraged by my ignorantly arrogant attitude, Patriarch Tianyin's fury erupted. All right, he seethed. It's been a long time since I've seen such a presumptuous junior who doesn't know his place. Boy, do you really think these demon cultivator armies can suppress me? While their strength is formidable, I am a grand tribulation stage cultivator, and this place is the main base of my Tianyin sacred palace. Your demonic banner, while wondrous, is incomplete. Though it can summon soul transformation stage experts, it cannot bear the descent of a tribulation stage cultivator from your demon sect. Therefore, if these are all the tricks you have today, I'm afraid you won't be leaving this place alive. I ignored his words, simply lowering my head to gaze at the faintly visible demonic runes at the center of the Tianyin Plaza, my lips curving into a slight smile. Is that so? Slowly, I raised my hand. Demonic energy surged, and the imperial banner materialized in my grasp. My divine sense locked onto the bright spot in the center, and I threw it with force. Demonic energy surged wildly from the banner, flowing from its tip into the demonic runes. Seeing that I hadn't responded to him, but instead performed these inexplicable actions, Patriarch Tianyin was enraged. Daring to ignore this patriarch, you seek death. A beam of world-shattering divine light, powerful enough to pierce through heaven and earth, burst forth from his eyes, aiming to suppress and kill me. I stood calmly in the void, my blood-red robes fluttering. Facing this terrifying blow, my eyes remained serene. Seeing that I actually didn't dodge, countless people were surprised. Is Su Chun mad? Why isn't he dodging? He must have been scared senseless by the patriarch, thinking he can't win and has resigned himself to fate. Su Tianhai and his wife, seeing my calm demeanor, secretly clenched their fists. The demon sect cultivators I had summoned also looked at me with tense expressions. As a grand soul transformation cultivator, possessing the supreme divine demonic body, I was naturally no fool. But why didn't I dodge? First, I was fearless. Second, it was unnecessary. Indeed, just as the divine light was about to pierce through me, A clear and cold voice suddenly resounded in the hearts of everyone present. To strike at this venerable one's beloved disciple, it is you who seeks death. As the words fell, a graceful figure in purple robes suddenly appeared in the center of the great formation. Then, with a single step, she crossed the void and appeared before me. With a flick of her feathered robe, that divine light shattered inch by inch. With a sweep of that single sleeve, heavenly ancestor Tianyan's eyeballs actually burst. Blood splattered across the firmament. Heavenly ancestor Tianyan clutched his eyes, his heart filled with immense terror. He had no time to ponder who this newcomer was, or why she was so powerful. The unbearable pain of his bursting eyeballs sent him plummeting from the firmament to the ground. Sensing the overwhelming power of the sudden arrival, everyone present was astonished. Mid-stage tribulation transcendence. Who are you, senior? Why do you interfere in the matters of my sect? The woman didn't even spare him a glance, striking out with a backhand palm. That patriarch had no power to resist whatsoever and was instantly suppressed and killed on the spot. Noisy, she spat out coldly. Only then did the woman turn around. She looked at me with a pained expression, then reached out and caressed my face. Chinna, you've grown thin. Hearing the woman's first words, my nose stung and tears threatened to fall. Master, my voice trembled slightly, carrying a hint of imperceptible grievance and guilt. The woman before me was my master, and also the sect master of the demonic Tao's foremost sect, the heavenly demonic sect, Luo Hongyan. Back then, I was thrown into the demonic abyss, living a life worse than death for a full 10 years. It was Luo Hongyan who took my hand and led me out of the demonic abyss. She took me as her disciple, taught me cultivation methods, and treated me with maternal sincerity. It was precisely with her help that I, at such a young age, was able to reach the spirit transformation stage. She even specifically established the position of divine son for me, placing me second only to her, above 10,000 others. She was like both a teacher and a mother to me. But how did I repay her? For the sake of so-called blood relatives, I secretly sealed my demonic cultivation and fled the demonic sect. Now, seeing her again after 5 years, I expected Master to be furious and disappointed in me. But I never imagined her first words would be, Chinner, you've gotten thin. I looked at Luo Hongyan, whose face was full of doting affection, and my heart subtly trembled, filled with immense self-reproach. I hadn't realized that the true love I had been searching for these past 5 years, I had actually possessed all along. Poor me, I was so foolishly unaware. For someone undeserving, I had hurt the person closest to me. Unable to stop myself, I lunged into Master's embrace, tears gushing from my eyes. Master, I was wrong, I'm sorry. Luo Hongyan looked at me, crying like a child in her arms, her voice filled with heartache. Chunner, you've been wronged. She gently patted my back, comforting me like a mother. However, this isn't your fault. She paused. This is all because of... As she said this, her gaze suddenly turned sharp and fierce, sweeping over Su Tianhai and his group. At that glance, Su Tianhai and the others were struck with terror, feeling only death drawing near. Senior. Luo Hongyan used her slender hand to wipe away the tears from the corners of my eyes. There, you're too old to be sniffling. Don't cry anymore. Master will get justice for you. Hearing this, my heart warmed, and I nodded heavily. Luo Hongyan turned, her cold gaze sweeping over the people in the main hall as she asked, Chinner, tell me, who bullied you? Hearing this, I raised my hand and pointed at Su Tianhai, Yin Shui, Su Yun, and their group. She, and her. With a triumphant look, I went through and identified everyone who had bullied me earlier, just like a child telling on others. Every person I pointed at felt a shock in their hearts. After roughly identifying over 30 people, I then looked at the several old ancestors who had just arrived. Master and that group of old geezers too. They all said they were going to kill me just now. Woo! Hearing this, Luo Hongyan dotingly ruffled my head. Then, She slowly turned around, her entire demeanor suddenly changing. Tell me, how do you wish to die? Feeling the killing intent in Luo Hongyan's eyes, so potent it was almost substantial, several deification stage old ancestors trembled in their hearts. Their gazes involuntarily turned to the heavenly Tao ancestor in front. His eyes had, at some point, returned to normal. Were it not for the 2 streaks of bloody tears on his face, one would never have guessed his eyeballs had once exploded. The heavenly Tao ancestor looked at Luo Hongyan with apprehension. Sect Master Luo, how exactly have we offended you to incur such a reaction? Luo Hongyan's tone was calm. You harmed my disciple. That is how you offended me. The heavenly Tao ancestor subconsciously looked at me. Then, with a puzzled expression, asked the person beside him, what is all this about? What exactly did you do to provoke Su Chen? He had been dormant in the ancestral temple, and now, having awakened, he had truly felt the terrifying battle pressure. As soon as he awoke, he saw me enveloped in demonic energy, intent on suppressing and killing the current palace master, Su Tianhai. So he didn't even have time to figure out what had happened. Now, hearing that someone had offended me, he asked for the full story. Upon hearing the old ancestor's inquiry, a nearby disciple quickly recounted everything that had just transpired. After a long pause, the heavenly Tao ancestor understood everything and looked at Su Tianhai with fury. Fool! Su Chen is your biological son. Why do you favor an adopted son? Others slandered him, and you, as his closest kin, not only failed to believe him, but even aided the wicked. So utterly unable to distinguish right from wrong. It was a grave mistake for me to disregard all objections and place you on the position of palace master. Fool, get down on your knees and apologize to Su Chen. Upon hearing the ancestor's merciless scolding, Su Tianhai's face turned extremely ugly. He had already been seething with anger for being suppressed and beaten by me earlier, and now he was being forced to kneel to me. If he truly knelt, kneeling before his own son, what face would he have left to remain in the palace? Ancestor, I am not wrong. Why should I kneel? Hearing Su Tianhai still dare to argue, the heavenly Tao ancestor was enraged. You're not wrong. Others slandered your biological son, and you, as his father, did not believe him, but instead helped others to accuse him. You made him prove himself, yet you kept finding excuses and putting up obstacles. If you're not wrong, then who is? Su Tianhai glared at me viciously. Perhaps in the past, I had places where I did wrong, but today I absolutely did nothing wrong. This time, Su Yun personally witnessed Su Chen colluding with members of the demonic sect, killing fellow disciples, and stealing the heavenly evolved pearl. So we are merely engaging in normal suspicion. Su Chen possesses the cultivation of the soul transformation realm, can manifest a clone, and has a magical artifact that shields heavenly secrets. Therefore, even if he swears a poisonous oath and uses the heavenly secret realm to retrace events, these cannot prove anything at all. Now he has exposed his demonic cultivation, and is even the demonic sect's divine son, killing so many people. Doesn't this prove that it was he who colluded with the demonic sect? What's more, the reason Sect Master Luo was able to descend here was by utilizing the teleportation array in the plaza. This teleportation array was activated by Su Chen, which indicates he had premeditated this, having set it up beforehand. And look at the core power supply of the grand array. Isn't it the heavenly evolved pearl that was stolen last night? Therefore, it's not that I'm biased and don't believe my own son. It's simply the truth. Hearing Su Tianhai's explanation, the heavenly evolved patriarch and others actually found it somewhat reasonable. Previously, they hadn't personally witnessed me swearing a poisonous oath or other self-proving acts, so they didn't know if it was true or false. But I did indeed genuinely activate the teleportation array just now, bringing Luo Hongyan here. The core of the teleportation array was indeed the heavenly evolved pearl stolen last night. So what Su Tianhai said seemed not to be wrong. Perhaps I really was orchestrating it myself. I'm the demonic sex mole. And all of this was merely premeditated, a conspiracy by the demonic sect to attack their heavenly, evolved sacred palace. Hearing Su Tianhai's string of deductions, and looking at the various palace ancestors with their differing expressions, black lines appeared on my head, and my idiot phobia was about to flare up. Even now, they still think it's me colluding with the demonic sect. Truly ing stupid. Seeing that I didn't speak, Su Tianhai thought his conjecture had made me feel guilty. Why aren't you speaking? Did I hit the mark? I originally didn't want to bother with Su Tianhai, but with him like this, I really couldn't hold back. Idiot, you're truly ing stupid. No wonder you could give birth to that idiot Su Hongling. Birds of a feather flock together. Your whole family. Oh no, your whole palace of people are all ing idiots. Truly hopelessly stupid. Is your heavenly evolved sacred palace an impenetrable fortress, not allowing others to infiltrate, you moron? Hearing my angry outburst, the heavenly evolved patriarch's expression darkened even further. What Su Tianhai said is indeed correct. If the person last night wasn't you, then tell me, who is it? And what explanation do you have for the teleportation array prearranged in the center of the square and the stolen heavenly evolution pearl? Sect Master Luo, do you intend to give us an explanation regarding this? Isn't your sex mole, Su Chun? Isn't all of this a self-directed and self-acted scheme by you all? Heavenly evolution ancestor's heart was also filled with towering rage. Even a clay figure has a temper, let alone him, an ancestor of a sect, a tribulation transcender with his own arrogance. Although he couldn't defeat Luo Hongyan if all of this was a scheme by the demonic sect, then he wouldn't mind a fight to the death. Luo Hongyan heard this, her eyes narrowing slightly. Do you really think you're worthy of asking this venerable for an explanation? She slowly raised her hand, demonic energy gathering within it, and a terrifying aura brewed. Just as Luo Hongyan was about to make a move, and a great battle was on the verge of breaking out, she suddenly glanced at me, and in the end, still forcefully suppressed the anger in her heart, dispersing her divine abilities. Enough. Since you demand an explanation, this venerable will give you one. I looked at Master with a hint of surprise, my heart involuntarily stirring. Luo Hongyan's personality had always been to act directly rather than waste words. I never expected that now, for my sake, she would be willing to suppress her anger and provide an explanation, which couldn't help but warm my heart once more. Actually, in the current situation, both sides were already in a fight to the death, and there was no longer any need for an explanation. But since this was Master personally vouching for me, I naturally wouldn't refuse. Moreover, I was also curious as to who the person collaborating with the demonic cult last night was, and who was secretly hidden within the demonic sect. Luo Hongyan's tone was flat. Come out, and give them an explanation. Everyone inside and outside the hall looked at each other, all curious as to who the mole collaborating with the demonic cult truly was. Soon, someone completely unexpected by everyone stepped forward. Upon seeing the face of the person who stepped out, everyone in the main hall was filled with disbelief. Especially Su Tianhai, Yin Shui, and Su Yun, who were even shouting impossible. Why were they so surprised? Because the one who stepped out was none other than their good son, their good brother, Su Chun. Chun, what are you doing? Come back quickly. However, Su Chun didn't even turn his head, walking directly to Luo Hongyan and kneeling before her. Su Chun respectfully greets Sect Master. Seeing the scene, even I was shocked. I had absolutely no idea that the demonic sex mole was actually Su Chun, the adopted son who had repeatedly framed me. Luo Hongyan hummed lightly. Explain it to them. Su Chun acknowledged, then turned to face the crowd. That's right, as you can see, I am the demon sex spy. Su Chun's public admission instantly left countless people dumbfounded. Su Tianhai looked shocked. No. Impossible, Chun'er, how could it be you? Yun Shui also looked incredulous. Su Chun, is it really you? Su Chen's tone was flat. It's me. Upon hearing this, Yun Shui instantly felt immense pain. You why? Haven't we been good enough to you? We took you in when you were 3 years old, raised you as our own son. For over 20 years, even a stone would have softened by now. Why did you betray us? Su Chan sneered. You were indeed very good to me, but I was originally a member of the demon sect, so how can it be called betrayal? And just because you were good to me, should I be eternally grateful? If that were truly the case, Su Chan was so good to you. Why did you treat him that way? Although I was the mastermind behind everything, even I felt a little unbearable about what Su Chan went through. Saying this, he glanced at me apologetically, then continued to explain. When I was 3 years old, the cult master heard that the Heavenly Deduction Sacred Palace was searching for their missing young master. I happened to be born in the same year, month, and day as him. Since the real one was not there, naturally, they needed to find a substitute for comfort. Thus, I was arranged to approach you, with the goal of becoming the young master of the Heavenly Deduction Sacred Palace and controlling the Sacred Palace. Originally, everything went smoothly, but 5 years ago, Su Chun returned, and I developed a sense of crisis. So I tried to drive him out, and thus framed him in various ways. These past years, I was the one who killed people, I was the one who stole treasures, I was the one who snatched immoral herbs, and I was also the one who watched female disciples bathe. Everything yesterday and today was arranged by me. I was the one who stole the Heavenly Deduction Pearl, and I also secretly set up the teleportation array. All of this was done by me. Su Tianhai felt immense heartache upon hearing this. Unfilial son, was all of this truly done by you? Su Chen nodded non-committally. Yes, actually, my initial attempts at framing weren't very skillful. Several times I was almost exposed, but I didn't expect you to trust me so much, actively covering for me. Later, whatever I said, you truly believe. How ridiculous! Upon hearing Su Chen's words, Su Tianhai and the others were all struck as if by lightning. They never imagined that the successor they had painstakingly nurtured was actually a spy for the demon sect. Fools, fools! The Heavenly Deduction Sacred Ancestor, hearing Su Chen's explanation, could no longer suppress his rage and struck Su Tianhai with a palm, severely injuring him. You don't dote on your own son, yet you favor a demon sect spy, truly deserving of death. Damn it, I ignored the sacred ancestor's actions. Hearing Su Chen's explanation, I looked at Luo Hongyan. So, master, you knew all of this? Seeing my expression shift slightly, Luo Hongyan quickly explained. Sure, don't misunderstand. Su Chan was initially arranged to be there by the Grand Elder, but I only later found out you were the lost young master of the Tianyin Sacred Palace. The reason I later stopped you from returning was because I knew the people of the Sacred Palace were all hypocrites. After you returned to the palace, the reason I didn't stop Su Qian from continuing to target you was because I wanted you to see their true colors. You won't blame Master, will you? Hearing Master's explanation, I was silent for a moment, then shook my head. I don't blame you, Master. On the contrary, I should thank you for helping me see them for who they truly are. Hearing me say this, Luo Hongyan patted my head, greatly relieved. That's excellent. Luo Hongyan turned to look at the Tianyin Sacred Ancestor, her gaze indifferent, her tone indifferent. Are you satisfied with this explanation? Upon hearing this, the Tianyin Sacred Ancestor and the others all looked at Su Tianhai, their expressions instantly darkening. Is this what you said was correct? Su Tianhai's face also turned extremely grim. The Tianyin Sacred Ancestor, seeing Su Tianhai's hesitant and meek response, grew angry again. Fools, why aren't you apologizing to Su Chun quickly? Hearing this, Su Tianhai and Yun Shui were both startled, then reacted, looking at me cautiously. Chun'er, we were wrong. Can you forgive us? Their tone was filled with guilt, but I said nothing, merely watched them coldly, my expression devoid of joy or sorrow. Yun Shui continued, Chun'er, I'm sorry, I really didn't realize things were like this. We were all deceived by Su-chun. Yes, it's all because of that ungrateful wretch, Su-chun. Su-chun scoffed at this. If such thoughts hadn't existed in your hearts, how could I have framed him so smoothly? Yun Shui froze for a moment, a trace of shame appearing in her eyes, but quickly transformed into anger. She glared furiously at Su-chun, just as she had glared at me before. No, it's not like that. This is all your fault. You did everything. You're truly not human. We treated you so well, yet you dared to frame Chun'er like this. You're simply an animal, an ungrateful wretch. Su-chun nodded noncommittally. That's right, I did all of this, and I truly am not a good person. But how much better are any of you? Su-yun, Su-yao, for power and status. I'm merely crooked a finger, and they eagerly clung to me, even betraying Su-chun, who had genuinely treated them well from beginning to end. Yun Mingyao, despite being engaged to Su-chun, was entangled with me. While enjoying Su-chun's kindness, she engaged in intimate behavior with me under the guise of being siblings. Utterly disgusting. Shen Rushua, blind and foolish, as Su-chun's master, you didn't trust your own disciple, choosing instead to believe me, simply because everyone else believed me. How utterly laughable. And you, Su Tianhai, Yun Shui, as biological parents, you didn't believe your own son, blindly favoring me. I don't even know where I got such great charm. Honestly, over the years, I've witnessed Su-chun's goodness towards all of you. But truthfully, your actions towards him made even me, a villain, feel indignant on his behalf. So, you selfish, blind, and foolish, mean-spirited, and opportunistic rotten people, who among you can claim to be any nobler? Su-chun's words were like poisoned daggers, piercing their hearts with every syllable, directly tearing away everyone's last defenses and pretense of dignity. Su-yun, Su-yao, and the others were utterly ashamed, bowing their heads even lower, wishing they could find a hole to crawl into. Su Tianhai and the rest also wore varied expressions, their faces simultaneously showing signs of guilt. However, when Luo Hongyan heard Su-chun's words, her expression instantly darkened. She knew I had suffered grievances at the heavenly Tao sacred palace, but she hadn't expected those grievances to be so profound. Humiliated, slandered, betrayed, misunderstood, treated with favoritism. Normally, she couldn't bear to scold me, but these people actually dare to treat me this way. They were simply courting death. With fire in her eyes, Luo Hongyan looked at the main culprits, Su Tianhai and Yun Shui, and said to me, "Chun'er, do you want me, your master, to kill them for you?" I was silent for a moment, then shook my head in refusal. Luo Hongyan's expression shifted slightly. "Chun'er, you don't want me to act? Is it because you still have feelings for them and can't bear to kill them?" Looking at the suddenly anxious Luo Hongyan, I let out a soft laugh and shook my head again. "Master, you've misunderstood. I don't need you to act, not because I still have feelings for them, but because I don't want to dirty your hands. Moreover, regarding this relationship, your disciple wishes to personally use his sword to bring it to a conclusion." Holding my sword, I slowly walked toward the two of them. My steps were slow, but with every step I took, their hearts trembled. Watching me get closer and closer, and feeling the unconcealed killing intent in my eyes, Su Tianhai's heart was filled with immense fear. He was just about to circulate his spiritual power to resist, but suddenly, two terrifyingly piercing gazes fell upon him. They were unmistakably from Grand Ancestor Tianyin and Luo Hongyan. The spiritual power throughout his body couldn't help but falter, and cold sweat immediately broke out on his back. Su Tianhai had a strong feeling that if he dared to make a move, he would instantly be suppressed and killed. But he was accustomed to a life of luxury and privilege, and this feeling made him extremely displeased. He looked at me, brimming with murderous intent, with a resentful expression. "You unfilial son. It's true I misunderstood you just now, and I did cause you harm, but I am your father, and I've already apologized to you. Do you really intend to commit patricide?" I walked closer, my tone utterly indifferent. Not all harms can be forgiven. Father, you are too biased. Su Tianhai was taken aback. What do you mean by that? What exactly do you want to do? Looking at his frightened eyes, I smiled sinisterly. What I mean is I want to dig out your heart and take a look, to see how it grew and why it's so biased. As soon as the words fell, without giving Su Tianhai time to react, blood energy infused my fingertips. I thrust my hand forward fiercely, plunging it into his chest. Deeper, I clenched my hand, then pulled outward with a violent tug. A bloody heart was thus exposed to the air. You. Su Tianhai lowered his head and looked at his empty chest, then raised his head to look at me in disbelief. His pupils were wide with shock, clearly not having expected me to be so ruthless, to actually dare to commit the grave sin of patricide, defying all moral principles. I tilted my head, looking at the fresh blood staining my hand, and asked with a seemingly perplexed tone, Father, your blood is clearly so red, but why is your heart so black? Blood splattered onto my cheek, and, coupled with my sinister smile, it was incredibly terrifying. You demon! Seeing me like this, combined with the agonizing pain of having his heart gouged out, caused Su Tianhai to immediately spit out a large mouthful of dark blood. I smiled faintly. Thank you for the compliment, Father. Looking at me, completely unmoved, Su Tianhai's eyes were filled with unwillingness. You unfilial son, I regret it. I regret it. His voice was loud. I, however, shook my head and sneered. What do you regret? Regret what you did to me? Regret taking me, this bastard, back in? Or regret having given birth to me in the first place? I paused, looking at Su Tianhai's face contorted with hatred. There's no such thing as regret medicine in this world. Whichever it is, you no longer have a chance. Take your regrets to hell with you, Father. As I finished speaking, my fingers suddenly clenched, directly crushing the vigorously beating heart in my hand. With the sound of the heart bursting echoing through the hall, Su Tianhai's life, too, reached its end at this moment. Body dead, Dao vanished. Seeing that I had truly committed the heinous act of parricide, the entire hall once again fell into silence, so quiet one could hear a pin drop. Their faces were filled with disbelief, staring at me with terror. As for me, the instigator of it all, I remained perfectly calm. I wiped my hands, then turned my head to look at Yin Shui. Noticing my gaze, Yin Shui's heart was filled with terror. She had originally thought I was just throwing a tantrum, that I wouldn't actually act. After all, an act of parricide was utterly unfilial and heinous. But now, seeing me crush Su Tianhai's heart without the slightest hesitation, she couldn't stop the fear from welling up inside her. Xiao Chen'er, I know I was wrong. Can you give me a chance to make amends? I'm your mother. Are you really going to strike your own mother? Hearing the familiar address of Xiao Chen, I suddenly froze. I couldn't help but recall the gentle and loving appearance Yun Shui had when I first met her. She kept calling me Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen'er, you've suffered. Xiao Chen'er, I'm sorry. Xiao Chen'er, come home with mother. We will definitely make it up to you properly. It was precisely these words that tugged at my heartstrings, making me abandon my identity as a demon sect divine son and willingly seal my cultivation just to return to the palace with them. But then what? Blatant favoritism, unquestionable disgust. It left my heart riddled with holes. Now you suddenly realized and say you want to compensate me. How laughable. Seeing the deepening coldness in my eyes, Yin Shui quickly tried to mend things. Little Chen'er, Mommy truly knows she was wrong. Can you give Mommy a chance? Let me protect you properly and stay with you forever. Okay? I curved my lips slightly, my tone unhesitating. Okay. Hearing that I actually agreed, Yin Shui's heart filled with joy. That's wonderful. Chen'er, rest assured, Mommy will definitely. Her voice stopped abruptly, because my human emperor banner had already pierced through her neck. Blood splattered out. Yin Shui clutched her neck, looking at me in disbelief. Didn't you promise to let me stay with you forever? I smiled faintly. That's right, Mother. By entering the Human Emperor banner, won't you be able to stay with me forever? As I finished speaking, I waved the Emperor banner, pointing it at Yun Shui's glabella. Her head split into four, directly exploding. Divine blood splattered across the sky. I stretched out my hand and grabbed into the blood waterfall, directly seizing her divine soul from it. Seeing the eerie demonic energy emanating from the Human Emperor banner, Yun Shui's divine soul trembled uncontrollably. You want to refine my divine soul and make me your soul puppet? I smiled faintly. That's right, Mother. Don't you want to stay with me forever? Looking at my innocent expression, Yun Shui couldn't stop shaking her head in terror. No. Don't. You can't refine me. I am your mother. Furthermore, I am the first saintess of the Jade Lake Holy Land. If you kill me, the Jade Lake Holy Land will not let you off. Before I could react, Luo Hongyan had already arrived beside me. Rest assured, I will personally visit the Yaoqi Holy Land someday. Luo Hongyan's voice was not loud, but it carried an unquestionable majesty. Yun Shui's face was filled with despair. I waved the imperial banner. Enough, Mother, stop struggling. Kumein. In an instant, a powerful suction force emanated from the imperial banner, pulling Yun Shui's soul into it. But I was not in a hurry to refine her. I wanted her to personally witness the destruction of the Yaoqi Holy Land. After dealing with this pair of biased parents, I looked towards Su Yun and Su Yao, who were cowering in the back. Seeing them, a few more traces of anger appeared in my calm eyes. After all, Su Chan was raised by Su Tianhai and the other from a young age, so their bias towards him was, to some extent, excusable. But Su Yun and Su Yao, I had been so good to them, bearing my heart and soul. Yet they betrayed me for their own selfish desires. Undoubtedly, this was even more hateful. Seeing me walk forward step by step, both of them retreated in fear. I directly released my God transformation aura, and the terrifying pressure instantly froze them in place. Seeing me draw nearer, both of them plopped down onto their knees. Young master, I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. I was deluded and fell for Su Chen's words. Please forgive me, all right? Su Yao's voice was filled with extreme terror. Looking at her panic-stricken face, I couldn't help but let out a sneer. Am I really that terrifying? Watching my lips, Su Yao subconsciously nodded, then violently shook her head. Terrifying? Oh no, not terrifying. Young master, you are the gentlest. My brows furrowed slightly. I struck out with a palm, directly shattering the crown of Su Yao's head. I've already committed parricide and matricide, and you're actually not afraid of me? What a liar you are. After killing Su Yao, I turned to look at Su Yun. Although Su Yun couldn't see, based on my words and the commotion just now, she had already guessed everything that had happened. Senior brother, I was wrong. I shouldn't have slandered you. It was all Su Chen forcing me. I'm sorry. Please don't kill me, okay? I'm a junior sister you personally raised. You were so good to me, you surely can't bear to kill me, right? I scoffed. Su Chen forced you? How did he force you? Did he hold a knife to your neck and force you? You know I was good to you, but why did you do this to me? Tears streamed from Su Yun like a burst dam. I'm sorry, senior brother. I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. An impatient expression crossed my face. You people, it's always I was wrong. Forgive me. Can't you come up with something new for a change? If you knew you were wrong, what were you doing before? Why are you shedding crocodile tears for me now? Hearing this, Su Yun cried even louder. Hearing her cry, I couldn't help but recall her childhood. Every time she got into trouble, every time she felt wronged, she would burrow into my arms, seeking comfort. Back then, no matter how angry I was, hearing her cries would always soften my heart. All right, stop crying. Answer one question for me, and I'll forgive you. Hearing this, Su Yun instantly stopped crying, but her voice still carried a sob. Senior brother asked, I rubbed my nose. Just now Su Yao thought I wasn't scary. Do you think I'm scary? Su Yin was about to answer, not scary. But then she suddenly remembered Su Yao's fate just moments ago. Although she was blind, her ears weren't deaf. Su Yao had just been killed for answering, not scary. So, senior brother, you are scary. I'm most afraid of you. No sooner had her words fallen than I struck out with another palm, directly crushing Su Yun into a pulp. What the hell is this? I was so good to you, never even had the heart to get angry with you. And you actually fear me? Seeing this scene, everyone in the great hall was stunned. Damn it, whether you answer scary or not, you die. Isn't this torture? Seeing me so cruel and bloodthirsty, Master Shinrushue could no longer hold back her furious scolding. Rebel disciple, how could you do such a thing? Yes, you were wronged, misunderstood, but their sins weren't worthy of death. You murdered your father and mother, killed your fiancé, and even tortured your junior sister to death. With such brutal acts, do you still have any human morality or righteousness in your heart? You're an animal. I turned my head to look at Shun Rushua, lightly chuckling as I patted my head. Look at my head, Master. I actually forgot about you. As I spoke, I directly threw the Emperor banner in my hand. Seeing this, Shinrushua hastily tried to dodge. But two tribulation transcendence pressures firmly pinned her in place. The banner's tip, utterly destructive, directly pierced through Shun Rushue's heart, firmly pinning her to the wall. Shinrushue was terrified. She struggled relentlessly to break free from the Emperor banner, but it was all in vain. She could only watch helplessly as the black human Emperor Qi devoured her flesh and spirit. Rebel disciple, let me go, let me go. I made a shush gesture at her. Master, whatever you have to say it inside my human Emperor banner. The black mist surged, and in but a moment, her spirit was completely devoured. Afterward, I performed the same operation, extracting the souls of Su Yun and others. Using the Emperor banner, I refined them in an instant. Their spirits were ground away, all transformed into the purest energy in the world, flowing into my body. 5 years ago, I was already at the early stage of nascent divinity. Over these past 5 years, although I had sealed my cultivation, cultivating both immortal and demonic paths simultaneously had continuously propelled the growth of my demonic cultivation. As soon as I unsealed and recovered my cultivation had already reached the late stage of nascent divinity, and my foundation was immensely profound. Nourished by this energy, and with my mind cleared after exacting revenge, my realm naturally broke through to the peak of nascent divinity. Congratulations, Divine Son, on breaking through to the peak of nascent divinity. Feeling the terrifying pressure emanating from me, countless demonic cultivators knelt down to offer their congratulations. Seeing my mind clear and my realm break through, and looking at my spirited and confident expression, Luo Hongyan was also immensely relieved. For these past 5 years, for the sake of brotherly harmony, family peace, and the greater good of the sect, I had endured humiliation and bowed down in subservience. I had become unlike myself. But now, the once spirited and confident, proud and decisive divine son of the demonic sect has returned. After exacting my revenge on my so-called family, I again looked towards Su Chun, the instigator of all this. Although he was a spy for the demonic sect, one of our own, the harm he had inflicted on me was also real. Sensing my gaze, Su Chun plopped to his knees. Junior Brother Chun, oh no, Holy Son, I was wrong. I truly didn't know you were the Holy Son of the demonic sect. Otherwise, even if I had 100 guts, I wouldn't dare treat you this way. Seeing that I was unmoved, he suddenly drew his sword, took a deep breath, then directly severed one of his arms and destroyed one of his eyes. He then spoke, Holy Son, I know that everything I did caused you real and tangible harm, but I truly know I was wrong. Now that I have crippled myself by sacrificing an arm and an eye, I beg Holy Son, Your Highness, to forgive me. Looking at Su Chun, who had a sincere look of remorse, I also nodded fairly. Get up, I forgive you. Su Chan was immensely surprised and delighted. Really? I nodded. I was not petty, nor someone who couldn't distinguish right from wrong. Everything Su Chan did was for the demonic sect, and thus excusable. He was a meritorious official of the demonic sect, and having already crippled himself by sacrificing an arm and an eye, had shown ample sincerity. Although he truly caused me harm, he also helped me vent my anger just now, and I couldn't keep dwelling on it anymore. Let it be so, I said lightly. Many thanks to the Holy Sun for sparing my life. Chen will sincerely follow the Holy Sun from now on. Su Chan nodded heavily, and a sudden sigh of relief escaped his heart. It was at this moment, seeing that I had finished exacting revenge on everyone who had bullied me, that heavenly sage ancestor Tianyin suddenly spoke. All right, Sect Master Luo. In this matter, our Tianyin Holy Palace was at fault first. But Holy Sun Su has also, due to this misfortune, broken through to a new realm, and all those who committed wrong have already paid the price. This matter can end now, can it? Luo Hongyan didn't speak. She merely turned her head to look at me. I thought for a moment, then finally shook my head. No. Seeing my rebuttal, Heavenly Sage Ancestor Tianyin spoke again. Holy Sun Su, why not? Then how do you think this matter should be handled? My tone was playful. How to handle it? How can it be handled? Of course, by handling all of you. Hearing the killing intent within my playful words, the faces of the several old ancestors, led by Tianyin, instantly darkened. Su Chun, show mercy when you can. In this matter, you were indeed wronged, but we have already allowed you to kill Su Yun and others. You have already committed patricide and matricide. Do you now still want to disrespect your teachers and destroy your ancestors? Before I could react, almost the instant the words fell, Luo Hongyan had already struck out with her palm. Terrifying demonic might surged, directly suppressing the elder who had spoken, right there on the spot. What kind of thing are you, daring to speak to my disciple like that? The whole place fell silent. The grand ancestor of Tianyin looked at the elder next to him, who had been crushed into a puddle of flesh and was filled with boundless rage. Sect Master Luo, what is the meaning of this? While my Tianyin Holy Palace cannot compare to your heavenly demonic sect, we are still a first-rate orthodox force. With such actions, do you intend to fight my holy palace to the death? Luo Hongyan scoffed. Fight to the death? Do you even deserve to? Upon hearing this, the grand ancestor of Tianyin's expression darkened even further. Sect Master Luo, as the leader of the first demonic sect, do you truly wish to ignite the third great war between righteousness and demonic arts? Luo Hongyan let out another cold laugh. With just you, do you even deserve to represent the righteous path? Moreover, even if it truly ignited, what of it? What does this venerable one have to fear? Perfect, my heavenly demonic sect has been dormant for too long. It's time for some action. Luo Hongyan looked at me, her tone gentle. Disciple, how do you want to resolve this matter? Don't worry about the consequences. Whatever happens, your master will bear it for you. Luo Hongyan's words were like a warm ray of light, shining through the myriad holes in my heart and into its chambers. From that moment, my heart regained its warmth. Thank you, Master. I think this matter. I paused, looked up at the sky, then lowered my gaze to the Holy Palace ancestors, whose faces were a mixture of tension and resentment. Master, the weather has turned cold. The Tianyin Holy Palace. It's time for its destruction. The demonic cultivator's army was already ravenous for battle. Upon hearing my words, there was no need for further commands. They surged forward, charging towards the disciples of the Tianyin Holy Palace. The demonic cultivator's army was inherently stronger than the Holy Palace disciples, and the number of nascent soul and soul transformation experts was several times greater than in the Tianyin Holy Palace. Thus, under this initial charge, they were no match at all. Not to mention, Master Luo Hongyan, a mid-stage tribulation transcendence expert, was overseeing the battle. Although the Tianyin Holy Palace possessed a Grand Guardian formation, against absolute power, It was ultimately like trying to put out a blazing carriage with a cup of water. Futile. What's more, this so-called Grand Guardian formation had been tampered with by the infiltrator Suchun. Consequently, the situation quickly became one-sided, and everyone in the Tianyin Holy Palace was reduced to lambs awaiting slaughter. Disciples fell one by one, creating mountains of corpses and seas of blood, with rivers of blood flowing. Such a brutal sight caused many disciples to lose the will to fight, scattering and fleeing. Tianyin's sacred palace was consequently quickly defeated. It's over, everything's over. Tianyin's sacred ancestor saw this scene, his face filled with utter despair, and he collapsed to the ground. A moment ago, he had barely managed to block Luo Hongyan by burning his essence blood and employing a secret technique. Now, his essence blood was completely exhausted, and his disciples had also been utterly slaughtered. He knew Tianyin's sacred palace was no match for Tianma's sect, but he never imagined the gap between the two sides would be so vast. Chin'er, you just broken through your realm, and your foundation is unstable. These old fellows will be left to you to solidify your cultivation. Luo Hongyan looked at Tianyin's sacred ancestor and the various spirit transformation ancestors, who had already lost their fighting capability, and spoke in an indifferent tone. Hearing this, I didn't stand on ceremony and walked forward. No, don't. Divine Sun Su, please spare me. A spirit transformation ancestor who didn't wish to die opened his mouth to beg for mercy. I scoffed. I'm the Divine Sun, not a horse tender. After a sneer, without the slightest hesitation, my hand rose and the sword fell, directly severing his head. Seeing my ruthless methods, the remaining ancestors were filled with boundless indignation. You unprincipled beast, is there still a shred of morality left in your heart? Not only did you commit patricide and matricide, but now you even betray your master and destroy your sect. Are you not afraid that the world will criticize and revile you in the future? I smiled contemptuously. What am I afraid of? Whoever curses me, I will kill. I will kill until no one in this world dares to curse me anymore. I let out another cold sneer. Moreover, I'm a demonic cultivator. What does worldly morality have to do with me? Hearing my blasphemous words, that ancestor was actually so angered that he coughed up blood and died. Trash. Is that all? I glanced contemptuously, then looked at the last remaining Tianyin sacred ancestor. His gaze was dejected, and he looked as though he had aged several decades. Alas, I lost. The moment he opened his mouth, I knew what he wanted to say. It would just be more words of regret and admission of defeat. I'd heard such words so many times my ears had grown calluses. I really didn't have the patience to listen any further, so I directly spoke up to interrupt him. Ancestor, stop talking. Whatever you have to say it after you've entered my human emperor banner. I thrust out the banner, directly piercing his heart. The heavenly Tao ancestor looked at the imperial banner, piercing his heart, gazing at me with a face full of shock. He hadn't expected that I wouldn't even give him a chance to speak. I smiled eerily. Without speaking, I simply concentrated on activating the demonic sect's secret art, refining his body and soul. Afterward, a surge of pure energy instantly flowed into every part of my body. After dealing with him, I repeated the process, refining the bodies and souls of several other soul transformation elders. And with the human emperor banner, I collected all the souls of those who fell in this great battle, making them my imperial banner warriors. With the help of the entire heavenly Tao sacred palace, my recently broken through cultivation realm already showed signs of loosening. I was only one step away from the tribulation transcendence realm. Luo Hongyan clearly also saw that I was only a hair's breadth away from breaking through to tribulation transcendence. But there were no longer enough divine souls here for me to refine. Suddenly, she slapped her forehead, thinking of the Jade Pool's sacred land. She extended her hand towards me. Master, what are you doing? Luo Hongyan turned her head back, smiling faintly. I'll take you. To kill. And so, under Luo Hongyan's lead, the two of us, master and disciple, invaded the Jade Pool Sacred Land. Although the Jade Pool Sacred Land was called a sacred land, it had long since declined over the years, and its overall strength was even inferior to the heavenly Tao Sacred Palace. Therefore, with the combined efforts of us two, master and disciple, the Jade Pool Sacred Land was practically erased from the entire cultivation world with little effort. Mother, does it look good? How does it feel to witness the destruction of your own sect with your own eyes? I looked at Yun Shui's soul in the imperial banner with a mocking expression. Yun Shui's face was extremely grim. You are simply a beast, a demon. How could I have given birth to a beast like you? May you die a terrible death. I shook my head, seeing her still cursing like a shrew, and had already lost interest. I simply crushed her divine soul. I didn't even have the inclination to refine her. After massacring the entire Jade Pool sect, I arrived at the highest peak in the center of Jade Pool. Atop the divine mountain, I hoisted my human emperor banner. The wind swept past, the banner fluttered, and an immense suction force instantly emanated from within the imperial banner, like a black hole, absorbing all the souls of over 50,000 elites throughout the Jade Pool Holy Land. Thus, with the lives of the entire Jade Pool Holy Land sect, I successfully broke through the shackles of the divine body, becoming a true tribulation transcending grand cultivator. Although I had broken through the realm and become incomparably powerful, the excessive slaughter I committed made me feel some changes in my mental state. Therefore, my master and I retreated to the mountains, living a happy life of defying and destroying ancestral traditions.